Everyone, it's Smarter Medusa, and welcome back to CobraCat's weekly review. My camera is not on because I feel like shit and I don't want to do anything, so fuck you. And of course, we have Mad Cat here with me. Say hello. You're muted, bro. Hello.
Sorry, this computer just doesn't want to do shit that I keep telling it to do. Control D takes off mute. Fuck you, Chrome. Fuck you, Firefox, for changing things. Everything was fine the way it was, bitches. Sorry, a little anger issue. Hi, how's everyone today?
I'm doing good. Well, ish. Oh shit, Cthulhu wants to come on. Yay.
Cthulhu,
yeah.
like, oh my god, or...
Close. Pretty close. It's a guy that bought some of my art.
okay.
Excuse me.
Are always welcomed.
On my my stream where I clown and put hashtag Harambe on my tits.
So yeah, we're probably going to just do a short video today, maybe an hour, because as mentioned before, Modern Medusa doesn't feel good, and I'm like so busy this week. I've taken time out just to do this video, and I just really want to get back to work because I can't wait to be done with this because it's like stressing me out so much. I'm not even like enjoying life right now. I've had like 20 energy drinks within the last week because that's what I need to do to be able to work at a normal level. Also started drinking a lot of alcohol.
Me too.
Yeah, but it's because you're a wino.
Yeah. Maybe this week I'll do my 1,000 subs stream. Maybe. We'll see how I'm feeling. Maybe one night when I'm getting drunk, then you guys can get drunk with me.
So I sent the invite out. See if anyone else wants to come on. Romer wants to motivate you. See how that goes. Going to go ahead and set up the speaker for the first video today. I have to move all these energy drink cans. I've just got like, it looks like New York City skyscrapers all over my desk. You can't see it, but it's just like cans everywhere. I'm a slob. Oh, hold up. I've got an email I got to look at real quick. Probably my roommate telling me he's not going to be home today and feed the dogs.
Oh, balls. Oh, fuck. I didn't actually get to watch the video that we're looking at. What why don't you give everybody like a what it's about?
Monday Matt
I met him on Failure's channel not too long ago. Cthulhu.
Yeah, I'd love to be Monday Matt in all honesty, but today he kind of something a little bit on the bad side that kind of shows a general problem in the world today. So, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm all right.
I'm doing all right.
Freaking.
So,
What are you guys talking about right now?
well, I'm about to play
We're
a
gonna
video
watch a
from
video.
Monday Matt
Oh,
that
fun.
I released a few days ago. And it's about a 19-year-old girl getting arrested for getting pregnant from a 14-year-old boy.
Rightfully so.
So I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share so we can go ahead and see what his response to that was. Which, as you can see from the thumb up and thumb down, a lot of people didn't really like what he had to say, and even I downvoted it. Fan of Mundane Matt, and most of the time I agree with his stuff, but today, well, watching this, I couldn't back him up. I mean, I understand where he's coming from, but you know, let me just go ahead and start playing so you can hear it for yourself. Oh, what's our safe word today?
I don't have one, man. I'm just balls to the wall. Let's do this.
Let's go
Well,
with
that's
balls.
literally what it is. It has to be something to do with balls. So,
We're lazy
let's
today.
see.
So
What have
let's
we
just
not
do balls.
used?
How about nuts?
Yes, perfect.
All right. So if you want to speak, you have to say the word nuts.
Got it. Nuts.
And then I will stop the video.
I might just say nut just for the fun of it, so I apologize in advance.
Well, nuts to you.
Nuts to your butts.
I'll nut your butt.
Oh God. Oh.
Me
My.
first.
All right, let's play
Holy
this.
shit. Okay, this stream is getting steamy.
And sticky.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mundane Matt. Here is a story for you that I don't have an opinion on strongly one way or another. I mean, I do and I don't, because part of me kind of feels for the person at the heart of the story a little bit, but at the same time, there were crimes committed, and that is something worth discussing. So in Hollywood, Alabama, you have a 19-year-old girl by the name of Mackenzie Lee Guffey. She's currently charged with a host of offenses, including second-degree rape, enticing a child for immoral purposes, and possession and dissemination of child pornography. She's currently facing 20 years in jail and a $30,000 fine if convicted. She's also 5 to 6 weeks pregnant with this particular boy's child. Now, if you've started going, oh, fucking lock her up, hold on. So, yes, this girl is 19. This boy is 14. The legal age of consent in Alabama is 16, still illegal. But they met back in December. They started bumping uglies, right? She even stayed with him for a couple weeks.
Hey, nut.
Where they.
What does that even have to matter? Like, if they met back in December, that, like, even if she had her birthday in, let's say, like, January or December, she was still 18 and he was still 14. It doesn't change a damn thing. It's a non-point. It's a non-issue whatsoever.
I don't think he's making it so much a point as he's just giving a timeline.
But why even mention it? Like that it like granted, I can see why you would want to maybe add a little context to like this. Like, well, you have to see here. Like if it was like, oh, well, she was underage like at the time they had met, and then she became of age legally like after the fact. But that's not the case whatsoever. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything.
No, you're right. It doesn't change anything. I don't know why he included that detail, but for what he's about to say, that's not even like really anything. So
yeah, no, I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm like, I don't get the whole non-point. Like that makes no sense to me.
Mundane Matt has a tendency to go into excess when talking. He doesn't always get to the point right away, or he just talks a lot. So I've just kind of come to accept that when he mentions they got together back in December, it's like, Okay, he's trying to tell us a story here rather than just give us the cold hard facts of what this case is.
So we know that she started basically engaging in statutory rape back in December. Got that.
Yeah.
Cool. But we already know she's been charged with like multiple counts, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Kind of doesn't need to be said.
All right, let's continue on.
He then made the homemade porno, and they engaged in sexual acts multiple times, and she got pregnant. Now, the parents of the 14-year-old let her stay there. So one could assume that the parents involved or were involved to the point of knowing that like she was probably his girlfriend, that she was probably someone of whom there was a relationship. But according to her grandmother, together recently, and they weren't touchy-feely. She didn't know what their relationship was. So again, it's one of those situations of maybe they were just friends with benefits, at least according to him, but she wanted more. Now, Mackenzie herself has had a very rough childhood. Her parents divorced when she was 10. She moved from like flea-bag motels to rundown mobile homes. Her parents abused drugs, and she was basically left to raise her younger siblings by herself until they went to go live with their grandparents. And when they went to go live with their grandparents, she was like bitten and flea bitten and lice or whatever the fuck it was. She had a very rough childhood, and so she has always kind of not had that normality. All right. And so she graduated high school last year, got a job at a rug plant. Her grandfather died. That destroyed her mentally. She got hurt on the job. That destroyed her further. And according to her grandmother, she was just looking for someone to hold on to. She happened to meet this 14-year-old boy through a mutual friend, and it progressed. Now, I'm not excusing what she did. I'm not excusing anything. But part of me, again, feels extreme sympathy because of the horrible upbringing that she had. And that's kind of where I'm torn on this, because these are serious charges. As I said, she faces 20 years in jail if convicted. And I think probably the most of it has to do with the homemade porno. Did she record it on her phone? She sent it to the kid. She sent it to the 14-year-old. Okay, it was on his phone, and it showed him in a state of undress. They didn't go into detail of what's on it, but that's essentially what it was. And because he's under the age, it's considered like child pornography. Very, very, very serious crime, and not one that should ever be looked at lightly. And so you've got this situation where you've got a girl who maybe isn't all the way there in terms of a maturity level, relationship with a guy 5 years her junior in a state where they're halfway between the legal consent age. She gets pregnant. She goes on Facebook. She starts boasting about it, right? And gets caught because she goes to seek Medicaid. And when talking to a social worker, she says that the father was 14 and the social worker was legally bound to turn that in. So she turned it over to the cops. The cops arrested her. The cops interviewed her. And then the police chief, who has a 13-year-old son himself, says she feels absolutely no remorse and was bragging about it. But again, that ties into her emotional and mental mindset. Like, do we know everything about her right now? Because I don't look at this from her perspective as being a malicious act. I don't look at this from her perspective as a predatory act. I look at this as a person who has had a very rough life and found someone to hold on to, and maybe he wasn't feeling the same way. Again, I have no idea. I'm speculating entirely on.
Okay, so that's generally what the rest of this video is about, is him practically excusing her behavior. And we don't really need to watch the rest to see where this is going, but this is the problem right here. And so many people in the chat have pointed out, hell, I pointed this out in his chat, that if the situation was reversed, that if it was a 19-year-old male who slept with a 14-year-old girl, no one would have any problem with wanting to send him to jail for 20 years. It wouldn't matter if he had the same exact life that this woman had, that, you know, grew up very poor, grew up in an abusive home, flea-ridden motels, what have you. It wouldn't matter. We would just say, you know what? He raped a girl. He got her pregnant. He should die. He shouldn't even be sent to prison. I've seen people react to this kind of stuff with saying that this person needs to die. And yet, in this situation, and this isn't just Mundane Matt. Mundane Matt right now is representing a problem we have in this world. that when a woman commits a crime, our sympathies go out to the woman. When a man commits a crime, our hatred goes towards him.
Well, like I have to agree with like what's going on with Mundane Matt. Absolutely. I mean, I can't speak and say that it's like every singing dick in the world or anything like that, but definitely like Monday Matt, and like you hit the nail on the head on this. And the reason why I say this and how I know that you are absolutely hitting the nail on the head, it's because the way he was trying to frame up this sob story about this poor girl who had a rough life and eventually transpired into having a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old boy. What even makes this even more insane is that he's like, I don't know if he wanted like friends with benefits or not. I'm just speculating. Like, dude, it's a 14-year-old kid. It's a fucking 14-year-old kid. A 14-year-old doesn't even know what he fucking wants for breakfast, let alone like, you know, if he wants to have a friends with benefits relationship or if he's like trying to like bed and wed this chick. So he's absolutely 100%. And like, just, you can tell from with the verbiage that he uses, he's trying to make excuses for like this 19-year-old girl. And now, granted, I haven't seen all this video, but my guess is that with her being pregnant, and seeing how he's trying to play the sob story, let me know if I'm correct on this. He probably starts trying to play up on the whole, oh, but she's also pregnant. Can you imagine that child being born in prison? Da 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 da. Am I right? Am I correct on that guess?
I don't think he does go into that.
Surprising.
I think he just focuses on the fact that because it wasn't a malicious act, that she wasn't hunting for underage partner, that maybe, and because she's not mentally cognizant of her wrongdoings, that maybe she shouldn't get as much jail sentencing time. But he's also conflicted because a crime has been committed.
Like, so, I know I'm going to sound like an old man here. And but what like 18, 19-year-old doesn't thinks about like consequences for their actions. Like when I was 18, 19, I was running around going, you know, oh, I can do whatever the fuck I want. I can do whatever the hell I want. Blah 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 blah. You know.
Well, I think it's interesting because like when I think when I was a teenager and when I was 16. This might, I don't know, this might shock people or not, I don't know. 16, I was dating a 24-year-old, and I personally think he should have gone to jail, but according to the law, he should have. So it's like, it's like, I can understand what Matt is saying, where it's like, it's not a malicious thing, but it's still like, you're not supposed to do that. Well, you know, you're just not supposed to.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely. My baby's mama, it wasn't malicious. I was a teen father. I had my kid at 17. So my kid's currently 11. So that can kind of tell you how old I am. I'm getting fucking old. It's terrible. But yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm older than you.
Yeah. Trust me, man. Like us old dudes, we gotta stick together. But yeah, no, absolutely. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't malicious. It was just something that transpired and ended up occurring. I actually remember my dad, when I let my parents know that, you know, well, my child's mother was in fact pregnant and had to explain who she was, how old she was and everything. My dad just said, he's like, you know, you're lucky you're not your sister. And what he was going with it was that if it was my sister with a man, like he was like going to go like full on, like go kill the dude. But because it was a woman, he was just like, hey, whatever, you know, good job, kid. You bagged yourself like a hot older chick. Like, no, it's still not cool. Like, I mean, I'm glad I have my son, but it's definitely terrible. It's definitely terrible regardless.
Yes.
Well, wow. I will say in the case of modern Medusa, girls do mature emotionally faster than boys do. So I think, you know, this will be controversial, but I do think that a 16-year-old girl is more capable of making a decision about sex than a 16-year-old boy. However, I still think that the decision should be made at 18 when it comes to having a relationship with an adult. And I think in this case, and this is where I'm going to disagree with Mundane Matt, is that I do think that it wasn't malicious. I don't think she was purposely looking for something, but when the opportunity presented itself, I think she went along with it because it was easier to manipulate a 14-year-old boy to be what she wanted versus dating someone her age. Because if dating someone her age, she has to deal with that he's basically his own person. Whereas a 14-year-old boy who's now sleeping with a 19-year-old girl, he's probably going to be entirely devoted to her. And if we believe the case that she just had mental issues because of her life, which I'm willing to grant her, then it would make sense that she would latch onto someone who would be entirely devoted to her. Well, manipulation of his inexperience as a fully realized person.
I mean,
that she used him because he didn't know any better.
I mean, I can see where you're coming from this. I have to kind of slightly disagree. Isn't that like kind of the point of relationships in the first place? I mean, to find someone to absolutely be devoted to you, so on and so forth. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm barely human myself, so like this is kind of some of the human aspects of life kind of elude me. But like I wouldn't say she probably wasn't trying to. And it's kind of weird for me because I was in a similar situation. You know what I mean? I really was. I mean, I have a kid because of it, so on and so forth. And I'm not trying to play like, oh, because I have experience, blah, 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 I know more. Like, absolutely not. But I don't have a whole lot of facts or evidence. But I just know that when like a similar situation happened between me and my child's mother, I was 16 when I met her. She was 21. And all I was thinking at the time as a 16-year-old was just, booze and boobs. You know what I mean? Like, what's the thing you want to do what do you want to do as a teen male, like in America? You want to drink and you want to fuck. Like, that's absolutely true. I mean, granted,
but we are talking about the difference between you being 16 and this kid being 14.
Yeah, but we're talking about a 2-year difference, and really at the point in time where the prefrontal cortex is developing at a very very slow rate, because with the average male, the prefrontal cortex doesn't actually fully develop until about mid to late 20s for men, but mid to early 20s for women. So, like, granted, women do tend to, at a younger age, process and think about the concept of consequences much earlier on. Absolutely. And men don't until a little bit into their mid-20s. Hence the reason why you just see like raging, like testosterone-driven men between the ages of 18 to like 24 because of that very reason. But that's going off on a tangent. I apologize. I do that a lot. Sorry. But I don't think it was really more the idea of her trying to shape him. I think it was more along the lines is that it was readily available, and with this whole sob story of her having a bad life, it was someone that she could latch onto. I think that's more along the lines. It wasn't to shape, but just because she could latch onto, and someone that would be quote unquote dependent because of his age.
Well, that's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I think that she didn't necessarily, okay. I'm guessing you weren't necessarily saying that she did that like purposefully, because she could have been doing that subconsciously without even knowing it, because, even like when I was a young girl, I guess, I would manipulate people and not even know it. Say, and then I'd figure out the consequences and then find out afterwards. So I think that she was probably just really immature, didn't know what she was doing, and probably just what got way in over her head, I'm guessing.
Okay, so what I'm basically saying is, no, I don't think that it was malicious. No, she didn't purposely go out and hunt for this. I'm saying that when the opportunity presented herself, she should have said, no, we can't do this. I can be friends with you. Little strange to be friends with a 14-year-old boy when you're a 19-year-old girl, but I can accept that it can happen. But a part of her should have said, look, I can't do this. This is wrong. And we don't know what actually happened, so I'm only making guesses here. the opportunity presented herself, she gave into it. Because, and I still believe that girls mature faster than boys do, she was fully aware that this was wrong, and she still did it. The boy, maybe he knew it was wrong, maybe he didn't, but, you know, whether you're 14 or 16, boobs and booze, you know, what you were saying.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, he definitely went for it. She went for it. And even filming a porno, loading it on your cell phone, she probably took it with her cell phone and sent it to him. She had to have known that was wrong. I mean, that's child pornography right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
And
I didn't get that part. Holy shit.
Yeah. She knew there had to have been some part of her that understood that this was wrong, and she did it anyways. Monday, Matt's like, well, you know, she openly admitted and didn't know, and she's just not there mentally.
How do you not
sorry,
know?
I just don't believe.
How do you not know that statutory rape is illegal? Like that's a pretty cut and dry. Like everybody tells you this. You know this growing up when you go through. I mean, where was this take place? Alabama. I think it took place in Alabama.
Was her cousin
right?
not available?
Well, besides that, no, like I know in California, sex ed, they teach you about the idea of what statutory rape is during sex ed. I don't know how it is in Alabama, but like it's still like really public knowledge, regardless if they teach it in sex ed or not, that hey, you can't be going around fucking 14-year-olds.
Right.
Like granted, I don't care that it's not malicious, me personally. I know this is gonna make me sound like a terrible fucking monster. Like everyone knows you can't be fucking a 14-year-old. Am I wrong about this? Like people, like your average American, regardless of how bad their life was, like prior, so on and so forth, knows you shouldn't be fucking a 14-year-old. So, I mean, I don't give a shit.
Well, shit, that fucks
like,
up my fucking weekend plans.
And that's the point that I'm making right there, is that she had to know that this was wrong, and she went ahead with it. Okay, maybe one time a mistake, like they got drunk or something, what have you, it was a mistake. She should have stopped it right then and there. She continued on with this. So what I'm saying is, what was happening in her mind to think that it was okay to have sex with a 14-year-old boy? If she desired this, why not be with someone who was more of a safe bet that was over the age of 18? Why stay with a 14-year-old boy? And there has to be some element of manipulation there, that she felt more in control being with a 14-year-old boy than being with someone her own age. And that's kind of the point I'm getting at, is I think that she wanted to be with him that so she could, I don't want to say manipulate him, because I think that's going on in the wrong direction, but basically, God, I can't think of a word. Something similar to a power struggle.
Using?
Are you talking about like trying to utilizing the 14-year-old? Like, I'm not going to say manipulate, but like subconsciously. I mean, we all do it when it comes down to relationships. You want your prospective partner to become dependent on you to a certain degree. In her case, she could have been. I mean, I'm just reaching here, so let me know if I'm on the right path with what you're trying to describe. But she was trying to make it so that the 14-year-old boy would become extremely dependent on her.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I think. That the boy would become dependent on her emotionally, because he didn't. I don't even think a 20-year-old can consciously make a decision about sex, but more capable than a 14-year-old. But you got to make mistakes along the way. That's fine, but of course he would want to have sex. When I was 14, I wanted to have sex. I'd watch, porn that I probably shouldn't have been watching and wanted to fuck all of those women on the screen.
Well,
without a condom.
I had sex on accident.
Because I'm sure I would have caught something. But, I wouldn't have cared. I just wanted to have sex. And that can be used against me if I had met an older woman who wanted to have a sexual relationship with me but told me to keep it secret. I would have done it without fully realizing the consequences that can lead to. And the thing about boys is that there can be a delayed reaction when it comes to psychological issues. That, he might be fine now, but years down the line, he might not be. And there's no way a boy can anticipate that when it comes to wanting to have sex.
I mean, when it comes down to it, like you're absolutely hitting the nail on the head, man. You 100% are. The delayed psychological effects, so on and so forth. We know that this happens to you know, plenty of individuals who, even though it was statutory rape, it still ended up having issues later on developing in life for them. They have issues engaging in relationships. They have, and I'm not just talking about like romantic relationships either. Even just the idea of platonic friendships, they have issues with because it becomes trust issues. And so I think you're absolutely hitting the nail on the head. I'm sorry if I seemed like I thought you were saying one thing later on. I should have probably listened a little bit more, but you're absolutely hitting the nail on the head.
It's good to ask questions. It's good to have a debate like this because this is a very important issue. And part of my understanding of this is having gone through it myself. Now, when I was 8 years old, I had sex with a 16-year-old female.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I glorified it. I was like, oh, yeah, I had sex. I mean, I didn't even really understand what sex was. I just knew it was something that people had. But it did affect me. And it didn't affect me in the way that you might think. It actually made me more hypersexual from a young age. And this affected many of my friendships, especially with women, and even future relationships. And I wouldn't have sex again until I was 19. And I think part of the problem is that because I knew what sex was and having experienced it, it was something that I wanted again. And I was a little bit more aggressive in my friendships with people. While most people tolerated me, they didn't really want to let me close to them.
Yeah.
Now, I don't really know if this is what's happened, but I do know that, you know, it was just something I really, really craved. And I just had difficult time connecting with people as I grew up. And I do think that the two are related. And it wasn't until I was nearly 30 that I began to understand that what happened to me was bad.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's
so,
no,
I mean,
that's hey man, fucking props to you to open it up. Like holy fuck. But no, you're like, I mean, I'm not a psychologist, so I can't just pretend that I'm a psychologist here. I'm not. I just know from what I've read, what I've studied, so on and so forth. And like some of the things you described is some of the key, like, hey, these are this is issues caused by traumatic childhood experiences that such as similar to what you experience. It's absolutely insane. It's crazy. It has, and this is the truth. God damn, I'm gonna sound like the stereotypical anti-fem at this point, like the copy paste fucking YouTuber. Fuck. But anyway, societally, I think a lot of people were talking about like the idea of like Monday Matt's defending this woman because it's a woman who committed this crime, not a man on a younger girl. And that's because as men, we're expected to go out, do the traditional male bravado, seek out fucking potential sexual partners and engage, even at a younger age. It's supposed to be that idea. The question is, when it comes down to it, is what age? Well, what age is it where it doesn't cause damage? And I think when it comes down to it, like that's a question that can never really truly be answered. Because even though I know we talked about it, I threw out some stats. You're like, yeah, no, this is actually true. You know, women do tend to mature emotionally and mentally faster than males. It still doesn't still doesn't do anything to budge the elephant in the room, which is everyone develops and matures differently. They all mature and develop at different rates. So like, even though like I'm 29 right now, I have a 29-year-old right next to me. He could look ragged and everything because, you know, maybe he developed a lot faster, a lot younger. So, you know, he's starting to, you know, lose a little bit more elasticity within his skin, so on and so forth. While myself, I look a little bit younger because I didn't really fully mature both physically and mentally until like I was like, you know, maybe like 25, 26, so on and so forth. And it's actually very common. And it actually happens a lot, especially when it comes down to the concepts of puberty. So I feel like that's like I know a lot of people are asking the questions like, hey, what age is too young? And unfortunately, I feel like that's going to be a question that's not going to have an answer to. It's that you can't.
No, well, you can't have an answer of what age is too young, but I do think that we can come to a common agreement that maybe the age that we should set is 18, where it's currently at now. I mean, maybe 17, maybe 16, and you can make all sorts of debates. I mean, different states have different rules on these things, but I think we can all come to a common agreement that 18 is a good round age to choose from, where people, you know, no longer have the pressure of high school or coming out of high school, where they can go out and have a job where they can be a little bit more responsible for themselves. Whereas, you know, this 14-year-old boy, he can't be responsible for himself. Yeah, this woman gets pregnant. He can't go out and get a job. I mean, there are laws that prohibit him from working a certain number of hours a day.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
He can't take care of anything. I mean, the age of consent should really be centered around, can a person take care of the responsibility of raising a child without help from other people? An 18-year-old is more capable of doing that. I mean, with today's economy, yeah, that's a little bit harder, but we get the general sense of what I'm trying to say. An 18-year-old is more than capable of taking care of another life form because they can then go out and get a job.
They don't have to worry about like high school and academics.
Right. A 14-year-old cannot do this. And I think that should be the litmus of what is considered too young in this case. Oh, in all cases, but in the general discussion, that's where I draw the line is the person able to fulfill their responsibilities of another human life if they get someone pregnant? Or if
I agree. I agree. But like this leads into another question. Now, granted, you know, I don't know if we have any overseas, like across the pond motherfuckers in the chat. You know, if you guys get confused and lost, just let me know. So here's where the question comes down. If we were with what you're saying or anything, and this is just me playing a little bit devil's advocate, just know that I agree with you. It's just me trying to, you know, root out, help solidify a better argument. So should the age of consent be a federal issue or a state issue?
That's a hard one to say, because I understand how the U.S. government works and that things are predominantly state issues that each individual state decides for themselves. Like the age of drinking, I think, should still be a state issue. I hate the fact that it's a federal issue, and I hate that it's at 21, and I think that should be lower to at least 18. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question, in all honesty. I could make arguments for both, that it should be a state or federal issue. I don't know.
Me personally, and this is just me, and I love how you hit on the idea of like the age to really consume alcohol, how it's pretty much became a federal issue because it became more of a public health issue, and public health falls more in the federal realm than it does within just states' rights, especially when it comes down to like vaccinations, age to consume alcohol, and so on and so forth. I think it should 100% be a federal issue. And the reason why I state that is we have enough data. We have enough fucking, you know, studies. We have everything to showcase that when children are preyed upon, and I'm going to use that word preyed, not just meaning in a malicious, but let's be honest, like you're at 19, you should be able to at least know maybe fucking a 14-year-old is a bad idea. You know, maybe that's crossing a line. But I think it should be, because with the amount of issues that come from, you know, children engaging in any form of sexual acts, even if willingly, you know, it still leads to a plethora of issues later on down the line where individuals could end up having some form of like mental illnesses, reservations, so on and so forth, that can cause a huge problem. And it can actually end up hampering the mental health crisis that we already currently have in America. Because, you know, we don't have enough psychologists, we don't have enough institutions, we don't have enough of anything, honestly. We really don't with any medical professional field. And I feel like this should be more of a federal realm because of it, because of the issues that it causes. And later on down the line, it ends up just gunking up the works even more than how bad of a freaking, basically a psychiatric care system we really truly have in the United States at this point in time.
The problem I have with it being a federal issue is that our government does not properly recognize that women can be as bad as men when it comes to rape. I mean, there are many cases across the board. I mean, there was the recent issue where a Muslim woman, I think she was like a substitute teacher, who had sex with one of the students. And, you know, I think this is in New Jersey. She was a Muslim woman. She was meant to get 5 years in prison, but the judge decided to give her 3 years because of her culture, where this is commonplace. So, you know, it's not really her fault. And there have been many instances where many different states and even the federal government has gone lenient on women when it comes to crimes of, well, pretty much any crime, but even especially sex crimes. I mean, there's a whole website dedicated to all the women who have had sex with their students and have served no jail time. Even looking on this page here that I did the video, there was one that Monday Matt did, not, I think it's brand new, but it's basically Texas female math teacher gets 10 years probation for affair with two 17-year-olds. And this is a teacher, and this is an abuse of power. I mean, yeah, they're 17 years old. Maybe they can make a decision, but her being in a position of authority, that's still an abuse of power, and yet she gets 10 years probation for that? So I would love it if the federal government could make a law, but it has to apply to both men and women. But if the federal government makes a mandate on this, they're going to go easy on women, like they already do now.
Well, I think that's mainly more coming down to there is no real. I mean, there is a U.S. code on the concept of rape and sexual assault. However, it mainly is. It's known as Article 120, and it only applies to the U.S. Armed Forces. As it stands right now, there's very, very few things that deal with rape and sexual assault. And I use rape as pretty much as a catch-all for also statutory rape and, you know, your traditional what people view as rape. Now, with it being under like the Uniform Code of Military Justice, the UCMJ, they put it in there because that the UCMJ in and of itself is an extension of the judiciary branch. It really is. It's the reason why if somebody tries to appeal a courts martial, it goes up to like the appellate courts to be, you know, reviewed and see if an appeal is granted. However, like very, very few things. I think the last rape law on a federal level that was passed was 1993. The whole idea of spousal rape, and federal government said no, that's enough. Like that, it doesn't matter what states say. This is a public crisis, and this needs to be fixed. But like that was very, very vague in the idea of what a perpetrator is, but very, very detailed and specific in what constitutes as sexual assault and rape. I think by shifting the age of consent from states' rights to making this more of a federal issue, because it being more along the lines of a public health crisis, they would have no choice but to pass a law, you know, stating like, hey, we have to make a federal law stating what rape is now, because now we have to take control of fucking sexual, you know, what is the age of consent. And in order to ensure that this is the age of consent, we have to make laws that encompass like, hey, this is what rape is. This is what statutory rape is under federal law, so on and so forth.
Well, they already have that though, and right now, what the FBI and many agencies and many states consider to be rape is centered around the concept of penetration.
Yeah, but that's still falling within the laws that they're going off is state laws, though.
Right, but the problem with that is it doesn't deal with the issue of force to penetrate.
Yes. Yes. No, I'm tracking what you're saying.
Actually makes most male victims of rape invisible by the federal definition of rape is.
Absolutely.
And that follows suit because, hey, this is what the federal government does, so that's what we're going to do because we don't want to deal with female perpetrators.
Yeah, no.
Because
well,
they actually exist first and foremost, but
I wouldn't say it's more along those lines. So there's I know I don't know where you're at, Mad Cat. I know that Modern Medusa, like, she's also in North Carolina. Here in the state of North Carolina, right, it is actually technically illegal to hang up your underwear on Sundays, like to hang them out to dry, right? Now, there's a reason why it's still illegal, but nobody enforces it. So a lot of politicians, and this is very, very fucking common, extremely common. A lot of politicians, especially how they campaign or run against, right, don't want to look like they're, what's the best word I can use here? That they're too lenient, that they don't want to just randomly, like, tear apart the whole legal framework of the state, so on and so forth. So what they'll do is they'll let laws like, it's illegal to hang your underwear out to dry on Sundays on the books. And this also goes the same with changing said laws. They don't want to change them. They just want to kind of maintain and pass whatever new laws that kind of fits within the cobblework framework of whatever legal framework that they have within the state. That's actually a very common issue. And we're not just, and this expands, and I'm not trying to go like red herrings or anything like that, but this expands past just these laws where it's just talking about forced penetration, not even just being forced to penetrate. I don't think it's more along the lines where it's male, and unfortunately male victims are being erased because the laws still have not been changed. Absolutely. But I think that's more, unfortunately, of a side effect due to a larger issue where politicians don't want to endanger the ability to get reelected because it would make them look too lenient by changing laws or freaking pushing, removing laws and replacing them.
Well, I see where you're going with that, but the problem with this is that the law that the FBI uses for rape was changed in 2013. The old definition only recognized women as being victims of rape. The new definition, which went into effect January 1st, 2013, included penetration. That if any part of your body had any sort of object or other body parts inserted into you, which also would include like forced oral sex, that is now the definition of rape. But it would not include if you were forced to penetrate someone else.
Okay, so
and this was on research findings from the CDC in 2010.
Yes, and I just pulled up from December 11th, 2014, the FAQ about the change in the UCR definition of rape. So the FBI implemented a change in rape in order to broaden the expansion of collection of national crime statistics. They're not going off of any law. They're just, they broadened a definition that they currently have to try to encompass more and more states in order to pull in statistics. It has nothing to do with prosecution. Yeah, it has nothing to do with prosecution. Yeah, so like, unfortunately, this is still falling in the realm where the federal government is not really truly involved. They only broadened the definition enough to encompass more states because a lot of states weren't meeting the current FBI's definition that they were utilizing. So they changed the definition slightly in order to encompass more of the states to pull in more statistics that are more data points than what was initially found. They're not prosecuting. And I think that's a, big issue.
I'm not saying that they were. I'm just saying that they changed the definition to try to include more victims, to not be specifically gendered, but it's still ignoring, victims. That's all I was basically saying. But no, I agree with you. FBI is not convicting people. The only way that they're anywhere involved is if there's like a computer crime going on or things are distributed over the internet. And then the FBI will get involved, like in the case of child pornography, that would get the FBI involved.
Yeah. So I'm just reading it. Yeah, child pornography, absolutely, because that's actually a federal felony. But yeah, no, I'm just reading this right here with the FAQ. I just wanted to throw it out there for a little bit more context. The old definition that the FBI was going off of was the carnal knowledge of a female forcibly and against her will. The reason why they ended up it was against women only. Like rape can only happen to women according to the FBI's definition. So that's the reason why their data points weren't pulling enough. So now they changed it to penetration, no matter how slight, of the vagina or anus with any body part or object, or oral penetration by a sex organ of another person without the consent of the victim. That was to broaden it. Now this is where it gets fun, and this is not me trying to play devil's advocate, but this is just trying to pick this apart, the new definition, to try to like put into scope what kind of data points that they're collecting. We can see from the first part where it says penetration, no matter how slight, of the vagina or anus with any body part or object, right? That's clearly, it's just pure penetration. Or oral penetration by a sex organ of another person without the consent of the victim. I mean, I guess you can make a case that if a woman like forcibly sits on your face, that's somewhat of a penetration, depending if you like parses through your lips or whatnot. I can see that, but it's still very oriented towards the idea of just, hey, you have to be penetrated in order to be raped, which is absolutely insane. It's still absolutely insane. I mean, it's great that they're now accounting for, the gay community and everything, where unfortunately it did happen a lot, especially like in the 80s and early 90s, where it was male on male rape and everything like that. And I'm glad that they're starting to account for that, but it's still not better. It's progress, but not 100%. Like, it's still not looking as women as being perpetrators of crimes, especially of a sexual nature, as opposed to, just, male, where it's just the traditional male with his evil penis of doom.
Yeah. And, I just recently watched a documentary, a very, very horribly put together documentary that dealt with the issue of women raping women. Basically lesbian rape.
Oh yeah.
And the men that they interviewed, and you use that term loosely, I think it was just their friends they put on there, and I'm kind of suspecting that it was scripted. I can't prove that, but I kind of get that feeling. They're like, well, I don't know how women can rape women. Don't you need a penis in order to be rape?
No, absolutely not.
Kind of a point that a lot of people have when it comes to rape, as to why men are the only ones who can rape, because you need a penis in order for rape to actually happen.
Yeah, and which is kind of insane to me. I think where that comes into being an issue too, and like I like the direction where they're going with the newer definition. Like I said, I like the direction. I'm not saying I completely agree with it, but the idea of like using any object to basically engage in sexual acts, I think that's a great direction to go with, because let's be honest, that encompasses also woman on woman sexual crimes, violent sexual crimes, but it still leaves out men in the end, which is, yes, I don't understand why men still get left out. It's fucking insane.
Well, and this definition, I firmly believe, is based on the CDC study of 2010 that was conducted by Mary Koss. Now, Mary Koss is also famous for creating the 1 in 5 statistic of women raped within their lifetimes. And that was just filled with like holes in their research. Like, if anyone even suggested something, they're like, okay, she was raped, even if they said they weren't. Now, Mary Koss address the issue of force to penetrate. And she said in her notes, in like if you actually read through the whole thing, it's like she acknowledges that force to penetrate is bad, but she doesn't want to classify it as rape because she doesn't believe that men can truly be victims of rape, and that's why she put it towards sexual assault and not rape. However, as other people have done, especially the honey badgers, if you take those numbers of males who have been victimized by women in force to penetrate and put it back under the definition of rape, then the rate of men and women getting raped becomes about equal. Taking it out in the male victim pool, medically.
Like, don't get me wrong, I'm taking your word right now. Like after we're all done and everything, if you wouldn't mind, can you send me those? Can you send me those like citations for that? Because I haven't seen anything like that yet. I would like to, especially if it's true, I would like to add it to like my little toolbox and use it. You know what I mean?
I'll be happy to try to point you in the right direction of all of that.
I
believe that an article I found talking about that was actually written by Kathy Young, where she goes into a full explanation of some of that. So that's probably going to be the best place to start with.
Yeah, I was already familiar with Koss and her explanation of like why she didn't want to classify force to penetrate as rape. I'm more familiar with her. However, I was not familiar with the whole like if you were to include that, then like men and women kind of equal out.
Yeah, I believe Kathy Young talked about it in her article. I think it was an article for Time as well.
Interesting.
So
I would have to check
back
that
before
out.
Time really became social justice warriors. So yeah, I'll definitely get that article out to you.
Oh yeah, if you could.
But the main point, the big thing that I really want to talk about, which we've kind of touched on here and there, is that the biggest problem we have in this world, but specifically the United States, since this is where all three of us are in, is that when it comes to women committing crimes, we automatically want to award her sympathy. Oh, she had a tough life and her grandfather died. She had to raise her siblings by herself. All these extenuating circumstances. And we've seen this before. Like there's the show, What Would You Do? Where they show a woman beating up a man and then watch all these people walk by. I mean, there's one woman, it's like, oh yeah, go ahead, hit him. And they ask her afterwards, it's like, why are you supporting this? And she's like, well, I just assumed that he did something to deserve this.
Oh yeah.
But when they featured a man beating up a woman, almost everyone rushed in to stop him because, hey, you just don't do that. Problem that we need to address that doesn't have an easy solution. I'll put that out there right now. There is no easy solution, but this is one that we have to deal with, that men will never be treated as human beings until we can either treat men and women as harshly as each other or treat men and women with the same sympathy.
Yeah, no, I'm tracking.
People still there?
Yeah. No, I'm just sitting here contemplating, man. I like to try to think about what I'm going to say before I say anything. Otherwise, I sound like a complete asshole and a drunk uncle. It's terrible.
But I mean, if we give extenuating circumstances to a woman as to why she committed her crime, then we should give the same thing to a man. However, if we're going to throw the book at a man and make him serve hard time, then we need to do the same to a woman. But while and Mundane Matt, I mean, I like him. I respect him. I look up to him. I want to be him. What have you. He's wrong in this case. And he's letting his own personal bias interfere with his ability to properly judge this situation. That he looks at a woman and it's like, well, she's an innocent victim in all of this and she needs special protections.
Well, no, she fucked a 14-year-old.
What's up?
I was like, but no, she fucked a 14-year-old. Like there's no innocence on her side. She fucked a 14-year-old.
Yeah. but there's still a part of him that sees a woman, and maybe it's a subconscious thing, but he wants to protect her. That there's this subconscious need to protect women, even if it's from themselves. But if it's a man, there's a subconscious need that we all have, that we want to hurt him. We want to beat him up. We want him to suffer. And this is something that we have to deal with if we're ever going to get men to be recognized as humans.
Oh yeah, no, that's, I would say, hold on one second. I gotta backtrack a little bit. Okay, first things first. I wouldn't say that men aren't recognized as humans. I would say men are recognized more along the lines of, hey, here's this level where you're supposed to be at. And I'm not saying this is like societal view or anything like that. This is just how it's been. Because a lot of our laws, a lot of the way things have done, they're relics from the past. You know what I mean? There were relics before we knew better. There's plenty of them. And they stated that, you know, oh, this can't happen to a man, so on and so forth. And we know that reality doesn't conform to old-timey thought process. So I would say that the laws are more confirmed to what is what was the perception of your traditional, like, you know, early 1900s manly man, like that meme, overly manly man, where like both his fists are up and he's just like band-aids. You mean bitch stickers, you know, shit like that. Yeah. And that's the truth, because that's how it was perceived, as how, you know, men were. It was supposed to be like nothing could get to you. It was supposed to be like you could handle anything, you could take on the world, etc., etc., etc. So I see a lot of our laws actually still bouncing off that old-timey way of thinking. And it's unfortunately, you can actually look at laws and like connect the dots and be like, oh my God, this links back to a law from 1803 and a judge ruling from like 1802, because there's motherfuckers even at going to the Supreme Court pulling out court cases from like the late 1700s, and they're using that to like, yeah, this is how it works.
So well, I can give you an example of something like that. The whole idea of 2% of all rape cases are false. And that's still being reported as a statistic by news organization, by not law offices, but
lawyers, like defense attorneys, so on and so forth. They try
I was thinking government institutes. But that originates, well, the FBI quotes it, but the FBI got it based on Susan Brown Miller's book from the 1970s. And her source that she cited was something a judge told her as an off comment, that 2% of the cases that he has come into his office is false rape, that it ends up not being actual rape. An offhand comment from the 1970s, and it's still quoted today as being absolute fact. And feminists still quote this all the time.
Oh yeah, no, trust me. I just had a nice little discussion concerning the idea of like going through the FBI Bureau of Justice Statistics and everything, and the reporting from 2015 between 8 to 10% of reported rape cases were in fact already like 100% like found like false. I'm not talking about like they went to trial and eventually fell through and they just claimed it as false. No, not at all. Like legit, eventually, like either the cops discovered it or the woman freaking turned around and reported it or confessed like, yeah, this is a false allegation, so on and so forth. But what was interesting on that is that they, and again, this is a tangent, they were never prosecuted for like perjury or anything of that sort because, you know, why not? You know, why not waste our time? I guess because perjury is not that big of a deal unless you're president. Ask Bill Clinton. But anyway, oh fuck, what was my train of thought? I'm sorry, I've been drinking, so I'm kind of drunk right now.
Well, I do want to refer to Skittles right now, and Skittles is basically suggesting that I'm on a witch hunt against Mundane Matt. I like Mundane Matt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I still watch him. I'm still going to watch him. But you know what? He says something, I'm going to respond to it. And if anything, I'm sure Mundane Matt, if he knew I existed, would probably respect that I'm discussing. That's ultimately what he wants. He wants a discussion to happen based on his videos. So this isn't a witch hunt. I'm not saying that Mundane Matt is an evil shitlord who should be going to prison. No. I have the opinion that he wants. and I will respect him for his opinion. Doesn't mean that I have to like it, and doesn't mean that I have to suck his dick because he has 100,000 subscribers.
Well, yeah, no.
His dick.
I mean,
I
you go for
would,
it.
But
hey, that's all on you guys. All I'm gonna do is hang out in the corner and videotape it. It'll go on YouTube for millions of hits. But anyway,
before they take it down, you can't show sex on YouTube.
if I had like weird, awkward black boxes, sure I can. Sure I can. It'll be like safe for work porn, you know, like. But but yeah, no. I guess when it comes down to it, you see like a lot of people, regardless if they're writers, YouTubers, TV personalities, so on and so forth, and people assume that hero worship means agreeing with everything that an individual says. That seems to be a normal track of thought. I completely disagree with it. 100%. I hope that people will question anything I say, any interactions on a daily basis, regardless if it's like online, social media, real life. Who am I kidding? I don't have a real life, but whatever. But any form of social interaction, if I say anything, I hope to get questioned on. And not just because it's not because I'm like an arrogant, pompous prick that goes, ha ha ha, I know everything. I could be fucking wrong. That's the truth of the matter is. I could be wrong. Even something I'm 100% goddamn sure about, I could be wrong. And if I don't get called out, how do I know that I'm going to be wrong? I don't.
I want people to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
I feel empowered if someone can prove me wrong and force me to really think about something, and I will even admit when I'm wrong. You know, and no one's above criticism. I like what Dragonborn here says, which he changed his name. I like the old name, but it was still Dragonborn. So no one, no matter how many subs you have, is safe from criticism. And that's the truth and all. Then Monday Matt would appreciate that I'm making a video of his video.
Yeah, it's like
it's what he wants.
It's like my buddy Hagbard said. He's like, no matter how famous you are on YouTube, you still have to realize you're just a fucking YouTuber. Like, that's it. Like, you're a Z-list celebrity. Congratulations. Like,
I love Hagborn.
But going back to the previous point that we were on, you know, when I was saying that men are not treated as humans, of course, I was exaggerating on that. I was just liven it up for dramatic flair. So, I mean, but yes, men are treated as humans, but they are still treated as a second class citizen in this country, which is funny because feminists claim that they're a second class citizen, and they're really not. There are a lot of issues that men face that are being ignored in this world, and that whenever men try to bring it up, they're immediately told that their issues don't compare to, say, women. Like, hey, men are committing a lot more suicide, and feminist response, well, women are attempting to commit more suicide than men. Washes out the point that men are making, that more men are killing themselves than women because, hey, women are attempting it more.
Why? Like, here's my question. And this is not me questioning you. Like, I think the concept of suicide is something definitely should be suggested. But why is that even a fucking contest? Like, why? Like, regardless of like both sides, like, regardless if you're just like trying to be like raised, like, you know, hey, here's suicide awareness, here's the stats, here's the, you know, we need to try to do something to help someone out, and then somebody comes along and tries to have a pissing contest, like women try to commit more suicide than men. Like, why is that even an argument? Like,
because it's like, victim status, and it's also a silencing technique. Women, well, not women. Sorry for saying that. Feminists, the majority of feminists only want women to be seen as victims. And if someone tries to, they look at it as a zero-sum game. That if you even acknowledge that a man might have something wrong with them outside of women altogether, that takes away from the victimhood status that women have. That is why so many of them say we care about men's issues, and if we solve the problem of patriarchy and help women become more equal to men, then men will be happier. To them, it's a trickle-down effect. If you solve the problem with women, you solve the problem with men. So all problems that men have to deal with the fact that women are treated unequally in the world. They can't fathom, well, they can, but they don't want to fathom that men can have an issue that's not related to women. Because once again, if they acknowledge that, that means they have to take something away from women to give it to men. So men committing more suicide, well, that's because women are not treated equally in society. It's always a pissing contest with them. It's always, well, you know, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But it's always a pissing contest. It's always a silencing technique. So men cannot be elevated above women when it comes to victimhood status. And men are not even trying to elevate the victimhood status. They're just trying to call on an actual issue and try to resolve the issue. Men, we're problem solvers. We see a problem, we want to solve it. But we can't do that if we're not given the means to solve it. I mean, there have been men out there who try to open up shelters for men, and they're not given the resources they need to do that because they're being silenced. They're being shut down, so they can't solve the problem. Feminists don't want to solve problems, because if all women's problems, as they claim there is solved, there's no need to give them money.
Oh yeah, no.
Give me money.
You sound high right now.
I'm like partly high, but mostly tired. I need to be more high.
No, this is what she sounds like, that she hasn't had enough pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't had enough booze. I'm gonna make a quick point, and then I'm gonna run for a quick beer. But no, I just typed it up in the chat. Like, I completely agree with you. There is an overall issue where there's a lot of men's issues that are being completely overlooked, but I think it more stems from the idea where I hear a lot of times where it's like, my sex, and I'm just using that because a lot of sides use that, and this is just me looking at it from the outside. I believe that there's men rights, and I believe that there's female issues, so on and so forth, but when it comes down to it, I feel that both men and women are treated as completely separate species. And I mean that in the sense of, like, we're not just all human, like, granted, I understand male, female, biological differences, but we're still fucking human. And I feel that men are treated not as human, and the same thing with women, where it comes down to where it's like women can only suffer XYZ, men only suffer ABC, but that's not the fucking truth. That's not reality. Like, for example, I literally got told that men can't suffer from depression because we have nothing to be depressed about. And that depression is and this is coming from another dude. He's like, depression's a woman's issue. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, clinical depression happens to all humans. And as I started to pick this individual's mind more and more, he honestly believed that there was specific mental issues that only happened to men, and there were specific mental issues that only happened to women. Like, for example, postpartum depression. They believe, like, I'm not trying to take away from the thunder of women who suffer from postpartum depression. Postpartum depression can lead to a lot of problems. It absolutely does. However, men can actually suffer a specific form of it, and it's actually slightly harder to diagnose within men because, unfortunately, women, after they give birth, it's a very high likely chance of getting postpartum depression because their hormones are thrown off whack, so on and so forth. Men and their hormonal levels change around their pregnant spouse, so on and so forth, because it's just how nature works. You become a little bit more protective, so certain levels rise up and certain other hormones dive down. It's normal. And then as soon as you remove the whole when postpartum depression hits a woman because their hormone levels get, out of whack, what was originally some of the hormones that were setting off on the male end to get them to trigger certain hormonal responses in order to become more protective, so on and so forth, now that's gone. So now a decrease in testosterone leads to temporary depression, like it's so on and so forth. It's asinine that I think a lot of people, and I mean this, a lot of people still think that there's certain issues that can only affect women and there's certain issues that can only affect men. And this falls into the realm of like, depression, suicide, freaking whatever. It's insane. People honestly think that we are two separate species, that we're not human. There's men and women. Not that we're human who have, the ability to reproduce among our own species. It's insane.
I mean, I'll agree that there might be specific issues that affect men and specific issues that affect women, but those would be a minority of issues. And that mostly anything that a man can experience, a woman can experience, and vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, it seems to be that people view that only men can experience certain things and women can only experience certain things. It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab a beer real fast, so I'll be right back.
Alrighty.
Okay.
What's up?
I need to get myself some.
Well, I need
I'm
to feed
too
the dog.
lazy.
I need to feed the dog, so when he gets back, I need to step away for a second. But no, I mean, someone actually arguing that men cannot get depressed.
Right.
Well, then tell me what I was like for most of my life. For basically from the age of 5 to 25, I was in a deep, deep depression. So how do you explain that? Was I just making it up? Was I just not happy? That is the most dumb. That is the dumbest thing I've heard, is that men can't get depressed.
Yeah.
And why would women want to have that status as being the only gender that can get depressed? I mean, do you get a special merit badge when you get depressed that you just don't want men to have?
Excuse me.
That's a good one. Stan Ulrich says, men can't get depressed? Explain the term going postal comes from. Explain where the term going postal.
I don't think I've heard that.
And obviously I'm a trans cat. Mickiest of Tau. Yeah,
All
but
right.
we're just two separate species, and we're not.
Yeah.
Sure, we've got differences, but I mean, we have a lot of similarities. And, maybe that's really the ultimate point there, is that we should be treated equally, not just in the workforce as feminists want, but also in the judicial system, that, if men and women commit a crime, the same crime, they should get equal time. And we shouldn't give special disposition. I can't speak. We shouldn't give special consideration just for pussy. So either lower the amount of what men serve in prison or increase the amount that women serve in prison. Simple as that. That's equality.
Oh, shit. Cutting out or cutting it out.
Well, you want to go ahead and end this then when he gets back?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's been like an hour and like minutes or something.
It's been about an hour and 20. Yeah, Dovikin says that you're speaking too low. We can barely hear you.
Sorry. I'm fucking tired. Oh.
Must have been all those hand jobs she did.
Bitch.
What was up with all those envelopes, by the way, in that video of yours?
Mhm. What about him?
What was up with them? What the fuck was that? I mean, I could understand waking up Andrew to check his mail privilege, but I just didn't understand what the point of the envelopes were.
White male.
Ah, okay.
That was the whole point.
So you cover him in all of his white mail? That sounds dirty and sick.
I know. I'm a disturbing person.
Was Andrew actually asleep, or was he just pretending to be asleep?
He was pretending.
I don't know. I was like, it actually looks like he's just waking up, so I have to Andrew for that. He's good at acting.
He did say that he was like asleep because we took so long. But yeah. Awake. I was mad though because he didn't say anything, and I wanted him to be like, "What the fuck?" But he was just looking around. Oh,
Well,
he loved the whip.
What's up?
Someone asked, did he like the whip? He was literally asking us to do it harder the entire time.
Oh yes, harder, harder, harder.
Basically, he loved it.
Yeah, I was like looking at that, and I'm like, that technique is way off. That's not how you use a flogger. That's why I left the comments.
Oh, whatever.
I would have taken that flogger and shown you how to use it.
We weren't trying to use it correctly. We were trying to just make it look like we were torturing him.
Well, the next time, torture him correctly.
Never.
Gotta swing from the hip. You can't just swing from the elbow.
I'm gonna swing from your butthole. I keep picturing that Far Side cartoon with the snakes, with the snake with the bulge in the middle. Cat dish named Garf. Oh god, that's terrifying.
Far Side snake cat. Let's see if we can find this image.
Shit.
Did he just like go to the store or something for a beer? What's up with this?
Yeah, he was too drunk and he fell over on the way.
Computer's acting slow.
My computer has been a bitch. I'm so fucking mad that they're not giving me my fucking computer back. Someone just said
a couple of images here.
Uh-oh. Oh god. No. Oh shit.
What?
Oh god.
What?
There's a cicada in my room.
Oh, so
no.
nothing.
Oh god. I'm in my room. Oh god. I have to leave. Oh my god, I have to get out of this room right now. What the fuck? Dude. Why? Scared. Fuck. I'll be right back.
Alright. I'll just entertain people with Farside comics. Let's see if we can find this one of a snake in a catfish bowl or whatever. Let's see, a picture with a snake with the bulge cat dish named Garfield. Boys, these things are cinch. Oh, you gotta love Farside. I wish they'd. We need something Farside-esque for today's world. Bearing and sugar tits. Well, I don't see this one with Garfield. Oh, well. All right, chat. So, what do you think on this topic, everyone? You know, do you... I mean, I see where Mundane Matt is coming from. I really do. I do try to understand my opponent's viewpoint. And he's trying to say that maybe we shouldn't throw the full 20 years at her, that there are extenuating circumstances, that she wasn't emotionally mature. But even if she wasn't, I still think a 19-year-old would still know that it was wrong to do what she did with a 14-year-old, and that she should still be held responsible. So what do the rest of you think? Do you think that Mundane Matt is right? Or do you think he's wrong? Do you think that she should be still held to the same standards that a man would be? Or maybe even that maybe the standards that men are held to are too high. That if there is an extenuating circumstance, it should be taken into consideration when it comes to the issue of statutory rape. And to be fair, we're not talking about actual rape, we're just talking about statutory rape. Because snakes are badass. Yes, they are. Ken says that we should throw the book at her. Miggiest of Tau, interesting name, by the way, thinks that Mundane Matt is wrong. Yeah, I do think he's wrong. I mean, I understand his point of view. I just still think it's wrong. That, you know, serious issue. Maybe 20 years is just too much time for statutory rape. But, I mean, if that's what men have to serve, then that's what women have to serve. I think 10 years is a good amount of time that both men and women should serve on this. But, you know, whatever the maximum amount of time that someone has to serve, that is what they should have to serve in this case. Agrees with me on that point. He's saying that I think she should do the complete time. Lowering the sentence is a bit iffy for me, but she should do whatever the male sentence is. I agree with that. Ken makes a very good point that many people made on Mundane Matt's video that if the roles were reversed, would this be an issue? And at the beginning of the show, I've met a lot of people that we've seen similar stories like this, and a lot of male friends are like, oh, I wish I could kill that asshole. I wish I could do something horrible. And I mean, that's extreme for me. That's way too extreme. We shouldn't be wanting to wish people's death, even if they do something bad. That's why we have a court system. That's why we have a punishment system that people go to prison. You know, we shouldn't be wishing people's death. But, you know, if a man commits a crime, he gets our hatred. But if a woman commits her crime, she gets our sympathy. Our sympathy, or they both get our hatred. We shouldn't be making special concessions.
Yeah, I just jumped back in. Sorry, I have no idea what's going on anymore.
Well, there's a cicada in Modern Medusa's room, and I was looking at Farside Comics, but then I asked the chat room, tell us what they think about this issue, whether or not they agree with Mundane Matt or not. but I need you to cover for me for a few minutes. I really need to feed the dogs right now.
Go for it, man. I got you, fam.
So you're on your own for a little bit. You're controlling the show.
All right. So just to entertain individuals here, hey Medusa, would you mind me telling a little bit of a story? It's a funny story.
No one's here right now, just you.
Oh, okay. Sweet. So we're going to take silence as consent, and I'm going to tell a story. I'm going to tell everybody about the time I got punched in the face by a tranny. Like, no shit. This is 100% true. Like, legit. All right. So a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I had a really good friend of mine. His name was Kyle. Me and Kyle, we were like best of buds. We always make jokes and whatnot, being like we're lesbians trapped in men's bodies, so on and so forth. It was, all shits and giggles and fun. Eventually, me and Kyle kind of went our separate ways, and then I eventually found myself here in the state of North Carolina. Kyle is from Greenville, North Carolina. All right. Yeah. Say what? It's going to be hilarious. You're going to love this. All right. So Kyle eventually hit him up because I ended up moving to North Carolina and everything. I was like, yo, boss, hey, I'm now living here in North Carolina and whatnot. It'd be fun. We should hang out and everything. And Kyle hits me back like, yeah, no. That's awesome. That's awesome. Be great. You can meet my girlfriend, so on and so forth. Like, oh, cool. It's all fun and games. I go to meet up with Kyle, and there's this chick waiting there. And I just hear my name get called out. It was like, James. I was like, do I know you? Like, I'm starting to think in my head, like, did I bang this chick at one point and not like remember her name? Now I feel like a dick, so on and so forth. And this chick like hugs me. I'm like, oh shit, clearly I know this girl. I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. And it's like, it's me. And I'm like, I don't know what you mean. It's like, it's me, I was like, I don't know what it's me means. It's pretty terrible. Oh, it's me, Kyle. And I'm like, wait, what? So Kyle had gotten a sex change. So the jokes that we had back in the day where it was like, I'm a lesbian trapped in a man's body, turned out to be like 100% true for Kyle. Kyle became Kim. So that was a little bit of a shocker. But now with me, I'm kind of the guy that rolls with the punches, so on and so forth. I was like, whatever. So I turned around and I was like, okay, it's cool. Whatever. I don't care. Like, whatever. Like, yeah, this is my girlfriend, so on and so forth. I'm like, oh, okay. So I met Kim's girlfriend because Kim became a woman to become a lesbian. It was fucking weird. But I was like, cool. So what are we doing? Like, oh, well, we're going to go to our favorite bar. Do you want to come with? I was like, sure. Why not? Lo and behold, I did not know this was a gay / transsexual bar. Like that was the whole point of the bar. So it made things a little bit more interesting. End up showing there's a couple of people there. They were like, oh, hey, you look really cute. Can I buy you a drink? And I'm like, sure. And as soon as they give me the drink, I would be like, hey, by the way, I'm straight, but thanks for the drink. Being that asshole because I am a cock tease. 100% I am. It's terrible. So a little bit later on in the night, I'm fucking shit-faced drunk. I'm 100% shit-faced drunk. Like I'm plastered. I just hear this screaming. I have no idea what's going on. I just turn around and I see Kim, who used to be my buddy Kyle, screaming at the bartender. Now the bartender is like, I guess the bartender was a tranny. I'm not sure if it was a tranny or just in drag. I don't know, but it looked like a gargantuan, like masculine, like Amazon, like just really, really bad. Like instead of going to Thailand to get their sex change, they went down to Mexico. So I can tell you how much money they spent on this. Wasn't a whole lot.
Oh my God.
All right. So me being the drunk guy was like, I'm going to be an adult. And I kind of get in between the two. And I'm like, hey, guys, it's all cool. We're all friendly here. We're all friends. Let us be friends. Da. Kim's like bawling her eyes out. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, Kim, what is happening? And I just hear, this bitch is fucking my girl, blah, blah, blah. And I guess it turns around and come to find out that the bartender for this gay / like tranny bar, whatever the fuck it was, I don't fucking know. But the bartender was fucking Kim's girlfriend. So that added to it like an extra level of weirdness. I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, all right, I'm just going to deal with this the way I would normally deal with it. All right, guys. Hey, I get it. Some bad things are happening, but we can all be friends here. And before I could like really finish what I was trying to say, at least what I thought I was saying, because again, I was really drunk. I feel pressure on the side of my face. Now, I can't say I felt 100% pain because I was kind of drunk at the point, but I remember pressure. I remember like, I think I got punched. I like turned to where the pressure was at. And lo and behold, I got punched. Like I was actually getting punched in the face. So I get punched in the face again. And I didn't know what to do. Like, what do you do at this situation? I know a lot of people that I've talked to about this were like, oh, dude, I would have knocked that fucking thing out. And I was like, see, you say that. You say that, but I don't believe you. I think you would be like stuck, frozen in time. And like, when you're like really, really, really drunk and then you get those like brief moments of clarity where you can like reevaluate your entire fucking life. That's where I was at. I was there right there. I was like, I don't know what to do. I remember
I'll tell you what I would do. I would say, why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? I was like, dude, stop singing. That's hurting my ears.
I have no idea what to do. Like 100% dead serious. All right. So Kim is screaming at me, fuck her up, James. Fuck that bitch up. Fuck her up. And I'm just like standing there like full Ricky Bobby. Like, I don't know what to do with my hands. What's happening? And I'm just getting constantly like face shotted by this gigantuan masculine tranny. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. Needless to say, the cops eventually show up, and apparently, like, according to the police reports, like, no shit. Police reports are saying, like, when they arrived on scene, like, they just see me, like, getting constantly punched in the face. And I'm just standing there, like, I don't know what to do. Like, so the cops eventually break it all up. And they're like, okay, what's going on here? Blah, 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 blah. All right? And I'm like, okay. I tried to explain my side of the story. I was like, look, I wasn't being aggressive. I was trying to separate the two people who were fighting. Kim's like off, like bawling her eyes out. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on over there. And they're like, do you know who assaulted you? And me and my drunken super was like, yeah, it was Bigfoot. Like, I was like pointing at the tranny bartender. I'm like, that was Bigfoot. Like, fuck that bitch. Like, fuck her. And eventually we get to the line of questioning where the officer asked me, he's like, so how often do you frequent these establishments? I'm like, I really don't. This is like my first time. He's like, hey, son, look, I don't care. I'm just trying to do my job. So how often do you frequent these places? And I'm like, no, this is like my first time. So this cop's like trying to peg me as like this guy who constantly frequents this gay / tranny bar like all the fucking time. Because like Kim's like a regular there and Kim's like screaming for me. I'm like, I really don't know. And he's like, look, son, if this is your thing, that's okay. We all have like weird things that we like to do in life. I'm like, no, bro, like that's not what's going on. So I fail in convincing the North Carolina cop that I am not trying to like bang fucking trannies and I'm not gay, which is totally not working because I know Medusa's seen me before. And you can actually testify I look kind of gay, which is all right. I look fancy and fly. It's all good. But in the end of it all, like the cops end up arresting the bartender, take Bigfoot away. Kim comes to me like bawling her eyes out. And I don't know why. And I'm not trying to be like, this isn't like a slight against, transsexuals or anything like that. But they wear a lot of fucking makeup, like a ridiculous amount. So like Kim comes to me and I have this bright green shirt on. It says Guinness on it. I love that shirt. I had to get rid of it because of this. She comes to me and she's like, oh, bawling her eyes out that she found out that her girlfriend was cheating on her and whatnot. Turns around, places her face like right in my shoulder, like, to be comforted. And I'm like trying to comfort Kim. Removes her face. And I swear to God, it looked like a melted clown fucking face on my shirt. It was terrible. So at this point in time, I'm in the military, like, and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. I pop up on what's called the blotter, which is like, hey, any like police reports that come through, if your name's on it, it gets popped up and you get questioned about it. So my boss, who's a gunnery sergeant in E7 at the time, like pulls me into his office like first thing Monday morning, starts like ripping me a new one, just like, how dare you get into a fucking fist fight out in town? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to destroy your career. Da, 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 da. And I'm just standing there like black eye, busted lip, like really fucked up going, uh-huh, 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 you're right, uh-huh. Yeah, I did bad. I'm sorry. Turns around, he's like, I got the police report right here in my hand. And he's like, I'm going to read it off to you so you know how much of jackassery you did. He starts reading the story. And when he gets to the point where like it was just a tranny punching me in the face constantly, he kind of just like paused. Just paused. And he's just like, I don't even know. So he tries referring it up to like our officers and whatnot. And even they were like, I don't know what to do. So in the end, I just got like patted on the shoulder and on the back and told, it's okay, Marine, you go on, because they felt bad for me that I just stood there getting punched in the face by like this 6 foot tall fucking like she beast of a fucking tranny. It was pretty interesting.
Honestly, you did the right thing. I mean, I know it doesn't, most people in that looking at that situation would think, oh yeah, I'd punch her back. I mean, some bitch wants to punch me, she deserves to be punched. Can have that philosophy, you cannot practice that, because if you had done anything to her, they would have probably twisted it that you were the perpetrator and you would have been arrested. And in this day and age, it's like if a woman punches you, if a tranny punches you, if any minority punches you and you're a white male, which I assume you are, but even if you're just a man, do nothing.
Well,
because if you do something, you're going to get in trouble. And the only best option to do is to do nothing. And it goes against their instinct. But if you don't want to be in prison, do nothing.
Well, like the truth is, I wasn't really worried about getting arrested. I was more worried about along the lines where all my buddies at work and everything would just mock me for like, dude, you beat up a tranny. You're a bitch. Like, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
It's an interesting, fun game there.
And, this is why I feel sorry for boys at school. Like, if a girl starts beating up on them, either they're going to be made fun of for being beaten up by a girl, or they're going to be hated for punching a girl, even if it was in defense. I often tell this story from my youth that, I had a girl make fun of me for wearing sandals to school, saying that I was wearing girl shoes.
Oh, yeah.
And I argued back with her because she was wearing tennis shoes. That's like, well, then you're wearing boy shoes. I got in trouble because I told a girl that she was wearing boy shoes, but she didn't face any consequence for telling me that I was wearing girl shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, this was back in the 80s, and it's much worse now.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Just to kind of caveat for that, I find it really weird about that whole idea. Boys' clothes, girls' clothes, and I think it's because I understand a little bit of the history of U.S. consumerism. So like back in the 70s and everything was really gender neutral. 60s, like around like late 50s, like mid to late 60s, it was gender segregated. Before then, it was like more gender neutral. Like we go through this lapse of time. I'm not even going to say a single generation because it definitely isn't. It just, it just seems to jump from gender neutral to gender segregated, gender neutral to gender segregated over and over and over and over again. It gets really weird, and I don't even know really what to do with that. I'm not gonna lie, my dad used to make fun of me. My dad, a long time ago, used to make fun of me. So, a little back history on me. I'm half Puerto Rican, and I'm a Jincho. So, like, It's really terrible. My son's darker than me, and I'm like, you motherfucker. Like, but I'm like really, really pale, like extremely pale. It's pretty sad. And I like look, and they're like, and I even get told all the time, "Oh, you look Irish." I'm like, "No, I'm Hispanic, you assholes." Like, but here's the say behind that. Growing up as a poor Hispanic kid and everything, back when I was really, really young, there's a lot of pictures, and I started looking at them, and it was this kid with like really like long curly hair, wearing pink diapers, and I'm thinking to myself, I was like, "Who's this? Who's this girl? Is this my sister?" And my dad was like, "No, mijo, you have to understand. Back then, we didn't have a lot of money, so people would give us diapers, and they gave us girl diapers, and we really didn't want to cut your hair because you had really nice hair. So I was like, you just let me run around dressed up as a girl for like fucking ever." They're like, "Oh, only until like you were 3 or 4."
Well, I think part of the problem that we see today with the whole division of gender as far as like colors and clothes and all of that, because once upon a time, pink was a color for boys, specifically baby boys, but it was for boys. And around the 60s, the feminist movement repurposed pink to be a color for girls or for women.
I could have sworn it was I thought it was like late 50s that it started shifting because of the feminist movement that was growing back then.
Well, yeah, it was starting to grow in the 50s.
Okay.
But it was definitely by the 60s that became a thing. It may have started back then, right at the 50s, when they wanted the color pink. But definitely by the 60s, the full transformation happened, that pink was now a color for girls. And, I remember growing up that I liked the color pink. And my father sternly told me that boys don't like the color pink. So then I switched to black. That seemed like a logical move. So it's actually feminists we have to blame for why, girls are associated with the color pink.
Huh.
Had they left things alone, we wouldn't be in this problem we're in now.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but it seems logical that changing the color from being a boy color to exclusively a girl's color.
Yeah, but we also adopted the concept of blue. Blue actually used to be known a long, long time ago as a girl's color. This is before the whole pink got taken away from the boys. Blue was considered a girl's color back in the mid to late 1800s, and then like very early 1900s, it transferred over to as a boy's color, which is really weird. I would say some of the things that happen, and like I don't know. I would say some of the things that happen is just normal societal shifts. I'm working on it right now. I just uploaded everything, but like the concept of the culture war, and there's a reason why I say that. I'm kind of segueing into the whole idea of this culture war. I know a lot of people keep screaming about it right now, which is absolutely weird. It's not really a culture war per se. It's a continuous fight. It is. On a societal level, it's a continuous fight, left and right. And every generation comes across this struggle. And the struggle, the question is, which side is going to win? That's not the question. People keep asking, like, which side is it? And I know that right now, for us, it's modern feminism, alt-right, like a bunch of crazy shit going on, right? But the questions that are normally asked and get found out towards the end of each generational struggle when things go to change or whatnot is, what should we keep, what should we discard, and what should we adopt? Because the whole intent is to get rid of the bad, keep the good, or replace the good with something that's better. And I would say things such as like shifting of colors to a certain degree. I'm not going to say every instance, but a lot of instances, and also a lot of shifting of certain views here and there is more casualties of this continuous struggle that every generation has, more than just a singular event, I should say. I hope that makes sense. I'm getting more and more drunk.
I think I understand, and it kind of explains why the PC culture started in the 90s and then sort of died, not completely, but for the most part, and then it resurfaced back again in the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Like around 2012 did it start becoming a lot more popular again. And so your hypothesis, I won't say theory, but your hypothesis there certainly explains why and then dropped and came back up again.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe within the next few years, we're going to see it drop, but it won't be gone. It'll come back again.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like a lot of the ideas that are being thrown around right now, granted, we have more lines of communication, so on and so forth. Like, absolutely we do. You know, we can communicate with each other across the globe in a matter of seconds, as opposed to where it took months to send a fucking letter. However, I'm pretty sure a lot of the questions that are being asked now and a lot of the things that are being sorted out, it's not really anything new. It really isn't. And I think that the truth is that there is a lot of things that we hold dear in today's societal perceptions, society as a whole, and also individuals that they're antique. They need to be discarded. They have no relevance and need to be replaced. And this is just a continuation over and over as throughout the years.
Well, actually, I've been having this thought lately about whether or not the United States needs to fall as a country. And I don't want it to fall. I hope it doesn't. But, you know, a lot of people have, within the last 30 years, have said that America seems to resemble what Rome looked like before its fall. Kind of this hedonistic culture that was more concerned about their personal fifis than actually the progression of mankind. And then when Rome fell, it was like, you know, nearly 1,300 years before any civilization came back to its level of production. And I'm wondering if maybe that's just a pattern that needs to happen, that a civilization pushes things, but only so far, needs to fall. And then 1,000 years later, another civilization rises up and pushes things even further.
I mean, yes and no. Rome fell for a plethora of reasons. We also have to remember the split, the attack by what was eventually known as the Ottoman Empire, so on and so forth. Before Rome actually completely fell, you had this split, and then the Byzantine Empire, which was Eastern Rome, ended up falling first. Western Rome actually held on for quite a while. The thing is that, yeah, you can draw parallels between whatever nation and what Rome was at during its last faltering years. Absolutely. But there's a lot of big differences involved here. One of those big differences is well, we're not Rome. Granted, yeah, we all can come up to I don't know if anybody here is really familiar with the Fermi paradox, the idea of, like, you know, where's aliens, and if there are aliens, how come we haven't contacted there? But like, one of the big things is talks about the concept of great filters. And I think the analogy of these great filters were like, you know, in order to progress, to move out amongst the stars, there are specific filters, you know, you have to get past, and it's extremely difficult to get past these filters. I think that also the filters portion of it, where it's like, hey, nuclear war, freaking illness, so on and so forth. I think those filters also really truly apply down to the progression of just, you know, your traditional, like, America, Britain, so on and so forth. Because let's look at a lot of things that happened to Rome that we can't really draw parallels to. Rome got struck with sickness. They were getting hit with cholera before they even knew what cholera was, and before the Brits ever came up with the idea of miasma coming from the graveyards is what was causing it. And that's because the Romans, they would dump their sewage right out in the middle of the street, and you would have your walkways and paths with the stones that were deep seated, so that way the sewage can run through, you can still walk along it. They didn't recognize that. So they suffered a lot from disease. We've surpassed that. And again, like I said, it was a plethora of reasons. There was multiple filters in place where at the time where Rome had advanced, they had reached a specific peak. They weren't progressing just on a societal level. They were also not progressing on, technological advancements. They weren't progressing more and more on anything. They really weren't. They were dead broke. They were already faltering when it came down to their status within the world. What was the known civilized Western world at that time. And in the end, it was a culmination of problems. And I don't see the United States as having all this culmination of problems. Sure, we have problems here and there. I'm not going to sit here and say America's A-okay. I won't ever say that about any country. Every country has its fucking problems. But I would say that the parallels of where, ex-Western country is at is where Rome was falling is false. Yeah, you can draw similarities, but in the end, it's not the same.
I want to ask you something, because that's all very good points. But the one question I have is, how are we not friends already? Because you're like someone I want to be friends with. You're highly intelligent, and I don't know. I think we should be friends. In all honesty.
Deal. We are now friends. We are friends now.
Yeah, a lot of what you're talking about came up in my research as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because I actually wrote a book that was featured in the Middle Ages, so I did a lot of research, so I can definitely confirm a lot of what you're saying.
Nice. If you could, eventually after we're done, follow me on. I'll follow you on Twitter or anything. You can DM me your details. I'll buy your book. I'll buy your book. I bought Medusa's art. I'll buy your book.
Not on my channel. Yeah, I'll DM you my book. But no, that's a very valid point. But then that's why I'm kind of saying that America has pushed things further that Rome has. I'm not saying that we're exactly parallel, but what I'm saying is that every new civilization that comes along, every major one that comes along, unfortunately, the only pattern we have is Rome and now us. But both of us pushed things along further than anyone else had done before us. We're certainly far more advanced than what Rome was during their time. But what if progress, basically runs out of steam, and then the world has to fail as a whole and then build itself back up, and that next civilization takes things even further than the United States could have ever done. This is all speculation. I have nothing concrete for this. It's just a thought that I'm having.
Yeah. We're talking about an uncertain future at this point. So of course it's all speculation. It's the same thing where if I tried to make predictions of the future, it's all speculation. We're not fortune tellers. We don't have psychic abilities. And I think I hear meowing coming from Medusa. Was that meowing?
I'm going to be in my bunk. I'm in my bunk.
Bye.
But yeah, no. No, we are absolutely speculating about the future. I would say, in the short time that America's been around, we have definitely progressed a lot more. I mean, hell, we've achieved the concept of flight. We've achieved space travel. We've achieved a lot. We fucking vaccines, like so on and so forth. I wouldn't say we would necessarily fall. I would say, and I know this is going to be crazy, and I'm pretty sure some people are going to be like, globalist, but I think we're actually going to eventually move, and this is just, it's going to be out of necessity that we're going to move towards the whole idea of like the whole Futurama governmental setup, and where it's going to be like the American flag and like Earth over right where the stars should be, because that's, even if America was to go to a certain point, the thing is, a lot of countries rely on America, and not just America either. Like a lot of countries, like America right now is trying to help out Venezuela with its economic issues, because if Venezuela falls, it causes it's a domino effect. It causes a lot more problems. We are so intertwined as a species now than we've ever been, that when a nation falls, it sends this ripple effect that disrupts every other country. And I foresee it where people are just going to look and be like, you know, we wouldn't have to worry about a nation falling if we all ended up being basically, you know, one united planet. No, I'm not saying that's going to happen within our lifetime. Absolutely not. I would say this is probably going to be something that's about like 100, 200 years off in the future. But we're already at the point where we're trying to prevent other countries from failing in order to ensure to preserve us. And eventually the very next logical conclusion would be, hey, we wouldn't have to worry about countries failing if we were all one, you know, singular unit.
Yeah. And while I don't want to see that happen, it is inevitable to happen. That if America survives the 21st century, which, I mean, it's kind of up for debate if that's actually going to happen or not, but it could, we are probably going to move towards a world government. I mean, that's basically what the UN is a world government. The members of it still have sovereignty to do things their way. But the way the UN is designed is that eventually it would take over as a world power that everyone would have to listen to them for what to do. It's kind of like how the United States is set up right now. Every state has their own set of laws, but they still have to follow the mandate of the federal government.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, the UN is there more along the lines of, I guess the best way to put it is where countries can air their dirty laundry about other countries. Like, that's really what it's there for at this point. Granted, there is like, we do have certain things such as international law. They're very few and far between though. And then we also, I mean, hell, Interpol, which is international police, which is just really there for like drug trafficking and everything, they're not really that effective. I would say more along the lines that in the end of it all, the UN is a good starting point, but it's definitely not going, like, the UN will never develop into what we are discussing. Dad's hat.
Yeah, I'm just like, Dad's hat, that's a weird name. It's apparently rye whiskey from Pennsylvania, so it was a gift. So I'm going to have some. I mean, that's what the UN does now. I'm just saying that it seems like it was designed to eventually facilitate that role of being the world government.
But then on top of that, well, the original intent of the UN was for economic development and stability. But however, you have also other like splinter cell groups such as OPEC, for example. OPEC is a perfect example. Is one of those splinter cell groups that's constantly throwing off everything that the UN can possibly discuss and negotiate when it comes down to economic ideals. You know, because OPEC controls the oil flow. That's 100% true. Every major oil producing country is part of OPEC. If they turn around and say we're going to restrict the oil flow, oil prices go up. If they say, hey, it's time to like release more oil prices go down.
Can you not get that picture of your head now?
Yeah. And it is inevitable to happen that the world is going to turn into a world government. You're right that we're probably not going to see it in our lifetimes. It's probably not going to happen until at least 100, 200 years from now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's the reason why I'm saying that. Like, that's the fun thing about humans. As much as we are capable of, and it's absolutely hilarious how much we are truly capable of on this idea, we are very slow progressing. And we really are. The fear of the unknown is one of our greatest fears, and we let it control us to the highest degree. Even if someone is like, hey, we really have everything to gain and nothing to lose by doing this, we still look at it very skeptically and go, well, even though everything says we're going to gain everything and not lose anything, I still don't want to make that leap of faith, you know? I mean, we are a species that has no problem in flinging out facts, logic, reality out the window to try to come up with an imaginary freaking ideal that we believe that controls, the universe or even our like own little home settlements, regardless of its feminism with patriarchy, regardless if it's the religious right with the concept of deities, so on and so forth. We are playing catch up to what we can actually do, and that's the truth. We're actually holding ourselves back, 100%.
I agree with you that we're holding ourselves back, but I disagree with you that we're, afraid of really doing things. I think the problem, because if you look basically from World War II to about the year 2000, there was a mad rush for technological development. But a lot of other things, but mostly technology. We really were jumping leaps and bounds. I mean, the self has drastically changed us. But there is this sudden need from a cultural standpoint to make sure that everyone has what they need. And groups like the feminists have taken advantage of this naivety and generosity of people as a whole, of we want to make sure everyone has what they need. What can we do to make your lives better? Okay, we'll give you everything you want. And then all of a sudden we're no longer innovating anything. We're no longer pushing as hard as we were. And if it wasn't for the third wave of feminism, I'm certain that we would be colonizing Mars right now, that we'd be focused on more about science. But now we're too busy trying to make sure that women are a part of science, even though they don't want to be a part of science, that we've just halted ourselves.
Well, like you were talking about, like after World War II, I would say what was a major factor and drive for that wasn't, like at that point in time, the fear of the unknown took like a little bit of a backseat because we had more of the Red Scare. We had a imminent threat at the front door. It was actually an existential threat to the United States. Wow, you look like you're in pain right now. Is it that bad?
Yeah, it's crazy. I put like a little bit in, and then I put some fruit juice in there. I might have to get the better fruit juice for this, but boy, is it!
Don't blame the fruit juice.
I poured it for myself, so I'm going to drink it. What's up?
I was saying, don't blame the fruit juice for just bad tasting liquor.
Well, I watered down the fruit juice because it's Hawaiian punch and it just tastes nasty.
Oh,
and
that's Hawaiian punch. That's where you went
wrong.
wrong.
No money.
Yeah.
So yeah, I need to get the good Hawaiian punch that I keep in the other bottles and try that.
You gotta break out that bottle of like 1993 Hawaiian punch from the cellar, don't you? That fine shit. But I digress. Okay, hold on. Let me hit on this real fast before I continue on. What happened to the Mars 1 mission? Well, the Mars 1 mission, have you seen what's been going on with like SpaceX and their rockets like trying to be reusable? This shit's been exploding, dude. Like you really want to have like another Apollo like fucking crisis, like just Apollo 12 just blowing up and shit. Like no,
I thought it was
cool.
Apollo 13.
No, Apollo 13 had the issues with the air tanks. They made it back safely. Apollo 12 blew up. Yeah. So
I thought it was Apollo 1 that also had problems. Like there was a fire that broke out and no one could get out.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that one. I don't think it was. I don't know. I could be wrong. But yeah. What was I saying?
Well, about Mars 1.
Yeah, Mars 1. Yeah. So Elon Musk keeps saying that they are on track for Mars 1, but yeah, that we don't know how true that is because it's Elon Musk. Like Elon Musk is a cool dude. He wants to revolutionize the world and fix things and whatnot. But the dude's a little bit off kilter. He talks a big game, doesn't really always deliver.
Well, same thing with the guy who created Facebook, whose name escapes me.
Mark Zuckerberg.
He wanted to change the world and make it better, and well, he's made it worse.
I wouldn't say he made it worse. I would say we did, and I mean that. We tend to take, and this is a normal human attribute. We tend to take things that are handed to us and saying, this will make your life better if you use it properly. And we just go, can I use this to belittle someone? Can I use this to beat someone to death with? Like, like let's be honest. The concept of fire, when man discovered fire, I'm pretty sure we weren't thinking along the lines of, oh yeah, we could totally use this to burn the shit out of people. No, we were thinking like it should have been thought like we can use this to cook food. We can use this to help us, become better. No, we tried using it to like kill people with first. Like we tend to take things that are good.
And I'm sure when Copernicus first invented the telescope, his first thought was, ooh, now I can look at the women across the yard.
Yeah. Something that was beneficial to mankind. But like, for example, and I always love using this.
First
the
example of technology being used for porn. Just saying.
Yeah. Like the AR-15. So the AR-15, upon original design, was supposed to be one of the best and most accurate hunting rifles that was going to be around, right? And the whole intent of the AR-15 was to make it so that hunters were able to not only conserve ammo, but you had less chance of accidentally hitting someone just because of like rapid flailing. Because when you went to fire, a lot of weapons back in that time when the AR-15 first was released was they were way too powerful for a lot of hunters. So you had a lot of hunting accidents. So they tried to make a very a lower caliber hunting rifle. The military saw that, scooped that fucking thing up, and was like, make us a military. So they made the M variants of the AR-15, which everybody knows is like the M16. And that's actually how it all came to be. Like the original AR-15 was literally designed to be a lower caliber hunting rifle that you could be able to take out deer with and everything, but you wouldn't have to worry about accidentally blowing off your buddy's head next to you because you couldn't control that much fucking hunting rifle. And that's what we do. We take things. When it comes down to it, we tend to take things that are supposed to be utilized for the best of ideas. And even the people who discover or invent these things go, this is going to help revolutionize the world and make the world better. And yet we turn around and we manipulate the fuck out of it. Like one of my favorite things is Microsoft. Microsoft's actually absolutely pissed. So when they created the Xbox 360, they created the controller and everything. They were like, yeah, this is supposed to be ergonomically designed. The button placement is supposed to be here. It's supposed to make it comfortable so you can play for long gaming sessions, XYZ. Military was like, we could totally use that to have people fly drones and bomb the shit out of motherfuckers. And they did. They took the Xbox 360 controller, and you have people in the military now, and this is like all public knowledge, whole 9 yards. You can Google this, and they're like using an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One controller now and like shooting fucking bad guys out in the Middle East with it.
See, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to disagree with you slightly because in both of your examples, you keep saying that, as man, we do this, but in both of your examples, you mentioned the military. And I will draw another example, which is the open source community. The open source community, and for the whole, is you have people that take a product that someone makes and releases to the open source community, and you have a bunch of people working together to try to make the product better. And these are just people. These aren't corporations. This isn't the government. These are just people seeing something. And it's like, hey, I've got some skills in programming. I want to see this feature happen. I'm going to write some code and then release it to everyone else. Or maybe they decide to make a business out of that one feature. But for the most part, the open source community is on this idea that we're going to try to make the world a better place with this software.
See, I'm not disagreeing with you whatsoever. For me and what I view, and this is just me, and you can be free to disagree with this, absolutely. I find that to be the exception to the rule. Humans by nature aren't altruistic. And for me, and I hate to put it out there, and I know this makes me sound like an asshole, I view that there's only one true altruistic event that a person can do. And that's actually no shit, knowing you're going to die and sacrificing your life for someone else. And the reason why I say that is because in this scenario, I'll throw it out there. Michael Phelps sees a little girl drowning in a river. It's Michael Phelps. He's good at swimming. He's like, I can totally save this girl and be A-okay. Jumps in the river, goes to save her, drowns. That's not truly altruistic. He thought he was going to get out of there. It wasn't a true sacrifice. He just, he's like, okay, this is going to make me feel good. Most people do things because they get some form of reward for it. It doesn't have to be a monetary reward whatsoever. It can also make them feel good. And when it comes down to altruistic events, like, they're very few and far between. Like, granted, I get that, and I completely agree. There is the open source community that turns around and tries to make things better to just make things better. But that's really the exception to the rule. Take anything that any man-made item and whatnot, and I guarantee you, people have tried to use it to fucking kill, maim, and destroy. Hell, even clothing they've done it on.
Well, and you are part of what you're saying is correct. That, Michael Phelps wasn't necessarily brave. He felt that he could have easily gotten out of there. There was no risk. There's a movie called Angus, and in it, I think it was like George C. Scott or whatever, his character was saying that, Superman isn't really brave because Superman never has fear. He's invincible. He's not ever worried about not doing something. But I do think that people can be altruistic. And I can understand your point of view, how you don't think people can be. Not truly, and it's a very rare thing. And I think that it's an uncommon thing. I'm not to the point that I think it's rare. I think it's uncommon. That people are capable of doing it, but in many ways, especially women, they're taught that they can benefit from the system by getting everyone to do what they want and not be altruistic. And but I do think it's possible. I do think that it's within our nature to be altruistic, so long as it's hard to explain, but when I think about our ancestors being hunter and gatherers and within tribal nations, there was more need of altruism because it was dependent upon the society to survive. But as we've become more advanced and there's less need for everyone to be altruistic, less people are. But I do think that there's still kind of that underline there that some people have altruistic moments throughout their lives. Yeah, I'll stop there while I'm ahead, but that's basically my point. Sorry, Vanessa's distracting me with her little whatever she's doing.
Shots. I'm doing a shot. Who else is doing a shot?
What are you doing?
Probably.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Shot.
That a shot with what appears to be what is that? Like a. Okay, no, that's not the booze. That's the booze in one hand. Okay.
Dr. Pepper.
It's Dr. Pepper.
I thought it was cold medicine.
She's robo-tripping. Watch out.
Look, the shot glass says Vanessa's bar. Dude, oh yeah.
I don't believe you have a bar. I think that's lying to me.
I totally have a bar, guys.
Well, if you have a bar, I want to do Jello shots out of your belly button.
Oh my God! Someone did that to Jaylee not too long ago. My old boss did that to her. Not the bitch.
Oh, the chat wants you to show off your drinks. Although Dovahkiin says that drinks is code word for tits, so.
I have this from St. Patrick's Day.
White Squall even actually just put it like best. Lol, everyone else is in deep thought about altruism and Medusa is dancing with cups. Like
That is why.
This is why me and Modern Medusa work so well together.
She dances with
I'm the brains and she is brains and tits.
Well, I feel kind of bad when I came on and everything. Like, I didn't mean to hijack your show. Sorry. Medusa.
Don't worry about it. We really didn't have a show. I mean, she woke up like a half an hour before the show. She's like, I don't feel good. I'm like, you still have to do the show. It's way too late to like cancel. So you're a godsend at this point because she really, it's like, she's doing this out of obligation. I mean, she likes to do the shows. Don't get me wrong, but today she just wasn't 100%. So you made up for her tiredness.
For that.
Yay, I don't feel so bad anymore.
Yeah, we only had one video, so I mean, I'm glad we could extend that for an hour.
2 hours actually, but well, yeah. Who the fuck? Someone in the chats doesn't know my boobs. They said that I have double D cups. No, they are regular D's. Thank you very much.
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you exaggerate her bust size, you asshole?
How dare you?
How insulting.
Hey, double D's are nice, but for her frame, it would just be way too much. I mean, she wouldn't be able to stand upright. She'd keep falling on her face.
Nah, I think she needs to correct it.
Know,
all right.
A little bit bigger, just a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see how it turns out.
All right, this is how it's going to work out. Hey, Medusa, me and you, this weekend, we're getting plastic surgery. We're both getting breast implants. We're going up to double D.
All
How's
right.
that sound? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you get boobs, I get boobs, everyone wins. This is perfect. I love this.
Yes.
I mean,
you would look pretty sexy. Then you can hit that drag queen back finally.
Yeah. What now, bitch? Just walk up there, fake tits and all. What now? Bah!
Yes, I
Not
want
so awkward anymore.
I want plastic surgery to get big tits so I can go around punching people without getting arrested.
Yeah, just start like knocking out trannies left and right. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Don't worry about it. I got tits. Like,
those aren't real. Nope, they are. They're attached to my body.
They're real enough.
Hey, if I can touch them, they're real.
Oh, dude, if I was a dude with tits, like fake tits, and like implanted whole 9 yards, I would never deny a person to touch them. I wouldn't. I would just let everyone do.
Go ahead.
Hey, sit back. I want to look at Jaylee. Wow, I shouldn't have said that out loud.
Fuck you.
Shot down.
Yeah.
Well, her dancing with cups is probably better than whatever Emma Watson does in Beauty and the Beast.
I refuse to watch that film. I mean, I barely watch
I saw
the
this
original
like
Disney
long
film.
post on Facebook about how everybody was disappointed with her being the fucking with her being Belle because she looks so manly and she doesn't have a like a girlish figure and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah. And I suggested Emmy Rossum. I don't know if you know who she is, but she was in the Phantom of the Opera. You know, a good singer.
Hell, Angela Lansbury would be better than Emma Watson. I think she's dead too. Yeah, I'm not surprised that she did so poorly in that because, I mean, she was writing off the success of Harry Potter, which, I mean, she's all right in, but it's hard for, it's not too difficult for a child to do well in a film if they're talented enough.
Yeah.
But then after that, she did the whole he for she thing. She didn't really challenge herself. I think she had one film during that time that did very poorly. And of course, she does Beauty and the Beast again, writing on the success of he for she. I mean, she should have been acting in more films like Daniel Radcliffe.
I'm pretty sure that my roommate is actually watching Beauty and the Beast right now. It's so bad. She likes Emma Watson, but I was like, no, it has Emma Watson in it, and she was like, I love her, and I was like, but she's a feminist, and she was like, I don't care.
Yeah, that's why I try not to focus on the politics of actors because I like them too much, and it's like
No,
once
I like
know
her
what
in
the politics
Harry
are,
Potter.
I can't watch them anymore.
I like her in Harry Potter. Just everything else, it's like, I mean, she doesn't look like Belle. No, they kind of fucked up on that. But I mean, if she was in something else and she was good, or even if she looked sexy, that would probably motivate me to watch it more. If she was like a stripper in a movie or something.
Oh God, no! She has no chest.
Yeah, but she might be able to work it if she can move the right way.
The only way she could be a stripper in a movie is if she was like a meth addict.
Dude, that would make way more sense.
Yeah, true.
Like if she was like some skinny meth addict stripper, I could believe that.
Yeah,
Let's create
but would
that
we call
movie
that?
and then cast her.
Would we call that method acting? I'll be right back.
I'm a method act on this alcohol.
You do that, homie. You do that.
Will.
I'm just drinking my beer, being drunk. I don't give a fuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you
So-
still like, drinking some? Or are you like done?
No, I'm still drinking. So check this out. I was listening to NWA the other day. Right? Absolutely. Yeah, NWA, niggas with attitude. So anyway. Oh shit, I probably just got his account banned. Oh fuck. But anyway, as I was listening to it, I had no idea they had a song that had an anti-weed verse in there. It was along the lines of like, I don't smoke the weed because when I get on the mic, like it basically translated into like, I don't smoke weed because when I try to like spit rhymes, like I can't do it properly. Like it was like, whoa, what the fuck? I've never really listened to this song before. It was insane.
Boy.
Oh god.
I need to be invited on mic more. You don't pay attention to the chat enough. Well, I paid attention to that one.
I do usually, but I don't have my glasses on right now because I was
Raisins.
driven out of my room by an alien invader. You know.
Is that the cicada or Andrew's
Yeah.
penis?
Oh no, he's not here actually.
I love it.
I thought you meant by alien visitor that you are getting anally probed. So could have gone either way with that.
You know
And
what?
yes, guys, I'm here all week.
How many
No, you're definitely
times?
welcome to come on our shows. I mean,
Well, after I read off that one live chat comment, like everybody's just like, lol, like all there. I'm like, yep, I'm here all week. What up, bitches? Like,
oh, I had to step away.
The comment was, I need to be invited on mic more. You don't pay enough attention. You don't pay attention to chat enough. And I'm like, well, I just read off that comment, didn't I? Like,
well, I do read the comments, as best as I can. I don't always respond to them because we're always talking about stuff, but I try to throw in a few comments.
It's kind of a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. It's like, how relevant is the comment to the conversation at hand? I think that's the key. And it's weird finding that good balance between the two. I don't know. I'm terrible at like live streams. Like, even though I do live streams, I'm just like, I don't know what to talk about. Like, hey, how about that weather? Yay. Like,
well, this is why I like being a small channel, in all honesty. I think if I was a big channel like some of the other big names out there like Monday and Matt, I couldn't even look at the chat. There'd just be way too many comments going at once. I'd have to hire someone specifically just to look at comments and tell me anything that was funny.
hell yeah.
Small channel has its advantages. I can interact with the chat more.
Yeah.
All right,
Hey.
I didn't mean to post that link. One sec.
What
Okay.
are you posting?
Share that. Mad Cat, share that tweet.
You know, she just
Oh,
orders
God.
me around.
Okay, so
Well, okay,
like, Snapchat has some weird ass filters. What the fuck is that?
dude.
Hold on.
I saw that shit. I didn't even know what to do. But considering how many times you guys like referred to aliens and probing in this fucking live stream, I had to to share it.
I just talked about the Fermi paradox as a way to like transition into the whole idea of the filters and then bring the filters in. Like, what are you talking about?
And I was just talking about anal sex. So.
Yeah. And he was trying to talk about it like doing it to me. It was weird, but slightly arousing at the same time.
Hey, it's just a hole, so.
Yeah. Hey, as a hole is a hole and a toll is a toll.
Oh my.
If I don't play any holes, I don't get no tolls.
Damn Skippy.
Mike can't play the audio.
Why do you have an actual mic? Like, what is going on here? I am so lost.
Touch your butthole. Touch your butthole.
Is this the part in the chat where you just like degrade into drunken, like random rambling?
Yes.
I'm okay with this. Let this train wreck commence. We had intelligent time. Now it's just fucking crazy time. And your friend looks extremely disappointed behind you.
Totally.
Oh, that's just Haley.
No, I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about the guy with on the phone.
What?
He looks disappointed. He looks disappointed.
Wait, who's on the phone? Oh, okay. I didn't even realize that you could see him.
Yeah. Oh, I'm good. Oh,
so that's how you get behind a girl and yell, "Surprise, butt sex!" Picture she doesn't see you.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Hey, you got the warning, bro. Just saying. Just saying. Don't blame me when it happens. All right.
Can you guys talk about Amy Schumer and the Netflix drama? I don't know what that is, so probably not.
Okay, no, I know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I just haven't seen it.
Okay, so Amy Schumer had a Netflix special that totally like tanked.
No surprise there.
It just sucked. Like that's really what it was all about. And of course, because like it was like 45 minutes of her just talking about having a stank pussy. People want to say, "Oh, this is because of patriarchy and fucking it's sexist, like racist, so on and so forth." I don't know, but yeah, that's really what the drama's all about. It's really retarded. It's gotten to the point where criticism such as it's racist, sexist, xenophobic, whatever, XYZ falls on deaf ears. Like people don't really hear that. I think it's funny because like we talk about this. Like I know I've talked about it. I'm pretty damn sure you two have always talked about it because that's kind of like what you guys do. And I just talk about whatever because I'm just a fucking moron. But anyway, I think it's funny how like we get involved in this kind of shit, talking about like, you know, people bitching about racism, sexism, xenophobia, all that shit. Like no matter what, like depending on what your niche is. Like it really doesn't affect the small percentage of the outside our bubble. It's actually funny when we talk about this.
So can you do a long story short for me really quick because that was kind of
long story short. Amy Schumer's new fucking special sucks ass, and people want to blame everyone else but Amy Schumer.
I thought I heard somewhere that Amy was blaming the alt-right for her low ratings.
Watch my video about how Amy, the Bud Light Amy Schumer and Seth Rogen commercial. That shit is so gay. Oh my god.
Well, you know, it's kind of perfect for Amy Schumer. I mean, if she does really, really well, then kudos for her. But if she does really, really bad, blame the patriarchy. She can do no wrong in her mind. There's always either she did it or someone just hates her.
I view Amy Schumer along the lines of like Ray Romano.
So.
And I mean that. I view her along the lines of Ray Romano. She was funny for that point in time, and then she can't transition to do anything else, so she just kind of disappears into obscurity.
What did she do that was so funny? What was she known for?
Her original stand-up wasn't actually bad. It was actually pretty good, like her original stand-up, and then it just turned to shit because you can't just continue using the same material over and over again for about 6 years.
Yeah. My vagina.
Yeah. It's like it's like watching a Cat Williams special. Like you've seen one, you've seen them all. It's the same fucking thing, you know?
Yeah.
Or how about Roseanne? Like back in the day, she was like,
"Oh yeah,
I'm a woman," and it's like,
exactly.
I mean, she really extended that. I mean, I liked her in the show Roseanne, but I never saw her stand up at all. It was just like very misandrist. In all honesty, it's all about how she's a powerful woman.
Yeah, I mean,
I think I might. Do you think it would be only if I reacted to some of her special, or would it just be demonetized?
Yeah, we should do a well, maybe not actually show it on our channel, but actually do a show where we're reacting.
Let's watch it and then just write down some stuff we want to talk about, and then review of it. That'd be funny.
Before we continue on in our mad ravings, I'm on Twitter, and I tweeted out the link for the YouTube page for the live chat, right? And I get a random individual, Black Knight Fool. That's what he goes by on Twitter. He goes, "Aren't you a white male?" My response, "Yes and no. I am half white, so I have 50% of privilege." His next two responses, "I'm just joking, although I thought you were modern Medusa's roommate." I just replied that I'm just a random dude from the internet, so I'm curious how this is going to transpire.
Black Knight Fool, he is an interesting one. He will occasionally come into my chat and tell me that I shouldn't be angry or should not be yelling, as it takes away from the men's movement. I'm the angry egalitarian. That's my shtick.
So here's my question:
I scream.
Are you burning down half of fucking your home state?
My roommate.
I don't know why. I don't know. Why are you asking me?
I don't know. Like what? Okay, I have 3 female roommates, and my other roommate is my boyfriend, Andrew, who has long blonde hair. So I don't know where the fuck you got that from.
I don't know. I own my own house.
Asylum, right? Because it has so many crazy women there.
What?
Yeah.
Your house is an insane asylum.
Like I own my own house. I don't get how I would be your roommate. I mean, I would have no problem being your roommate. Like I'm totally up for getting like crunked up and shit, but totally not there.
Where I need to go this weekend.
Yeah. Fucking party on. Party hard, Wayne.
Well, not that I could. I'm up in Pennsylvania, so not too far.
Yeah, not that far. I think we lost Medusa.
Oh, no great loss. What am I saying? The whole show is centered around her. Just 2 guys talking while we look at her tits.
Yeah. Let the men do the thinking. Thinking isn't women's work. Don't you know? By 1930s medicine, women have 1/3 of the size of the brain of men. So it's all fun and games until somebody's like starts like sending me death threats, and then I just laugh because it's even more games.
Yeah, I haven't received any death threats yet. I'm not that menacing. Not as much as I'd like to be. That's all right. I like to say that I'm like well below the radar. personalities. Like for the longest time, I was not blocked by
Hello?
Miss Sarkeesian.
Hola, we hear you.
Okay. Hey, I was trying to say that you guys can totally.
Why is there two of you?
Go.
I'm confused. Why is there two? I am
Oh.
scared.
Hey, I'm more than happy there being two. That means I get to have one to myself.
I don't want her.
Well, I mean, maybe.
Now there's
if
only
you're-
one.
if
You
you're
can
really
still
really
have the
nice.
only one. I'm okay with this.
Hey, I'll share.
Oh
So
shit!
what are
Okay,
you-
now there's one.
Yeah. So like you
So we're-
okay, how about this? You can have Medusa. The dude that was typing on his phone, I get him though. Deal?
Yeah, deal.
Great. I need a poker buddy. I don't have anybody to play poker with. I feel
I love
bad.
playing poker. Texas Hold'em is more my game.
Andrew's
though.
playing poker right now.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, is
Yes.
there anything you guys want to, before we go, or say, or just talk about
Alright.
yourselves, or
I'm a Libra. I like long walks on the beach, pina coladas.
You're a
And
Libra, and what year were you born? What month?
87.
What month?
October.
So
So
what's
so
Scorpio?
Chinese zodiac, I'm a fire rabbit. And
shit,
yeah, you gotta watch out.
rabbits
you're-
on fire.
Oh well. I'm doing a lot of work with astrology right now and writing my next book. So it's like that's why astrology is so fresh in my mind right now.
You should talk to my mom if you like astrology, because she knows everything.
Here we go. Hey, Ken Berhenke. I hope I'm saying this right. If I'm not, I apologize for butchering your name. He asks, I'm trying to become a content creator. Any tips and hints? I just said, just do it. Like, fuck it. Just go at it.
Yeah,
That's what I did.
Yeah.
It
Do
took me a
it.
few years to finally figure out what the hell I'm doing.
yeah. I tell people, just be yourself. Talk about what you're passionate about, and just like try and on a couple things that you want to stick to if you're making like pre-recorded videos, just so you don't like go off on tangents.
It helps if you get boobs.
My advice: a little
Yeah.
liquid courage goes a long way.
Yeah, I never make a video or do a stream unless I'm like drinking or drunk. One of the two. That's for
What
damn
saved
sure.
my channel? I got Modern Medusa. She agreed to stay on my channel.
Hells
get
yeah.
Other women, and it was just like, no, I can do better without you. I'm like, oh man. Vanessa's like my goddess.
Oh, by the way, in case you guys don't
Uh,
know, I actually own some of her art. Just to give you a heads up, fucking fantastic artist. Buy her shit. Buy it.
Yeah.
Buy it.
I got a new Rage On store, so buy shirts with my shit on it. And if you want if you want a shirt with a certain art thing of mine, just tell me, and then I will make it a shirt, and then you can buy it.
Damn Skippy.
See, that's fun. You and Jaylee right now, I have a major rage on going.
Oh my god.
But like that's the thing. Like I'm just I will vouch for Medusa. Like the art that I bought, it's called Freedom of Speech. If I can find the picture of it on my phone, I'll tweet it out later on.
I
but,
should make that into a shirt too.
Yeah, you should. No, it's a fucking great thing. My only issue is I'm a pretentious bitch. So like of course I had to ask to have it framed. Like like I had to
It
have
looked nice though.
Oh yeah, no, it's a great frame. I'm looking at it right now. It's actually right above my computer. Like 100%.
Nice.
It is. It is. It's a great by the way, I get compliments about it all the time. Like when people see it, they're like, dude, that's a fucking badass painting. Like, where'd you get that? And I tell them, like, hey, it's this individual. You can find him on Twitter under Medusa, like da da da. But yeah, no, badass
That's
art.
awesome.
Yeah, badass art. Check it out. I swear.
Okay, I'm gonna say something really quick. Like that, honestly, like it's so much better to me than like having my art in a gallery or something, because I've had my art in galleries and nobody buys it. Nobody tells me how nice it is. I just like I end up like leaving it there, and I have to pay for it to be in the gallery. So then they just like give it back to me, and it's like, oh. But then like you telling me that like that people like actually, you know, look at my art and enjoy it. That's
Oh yeah, I love it.
And I will
so
say,
yeah, buy my arts.
Vanessa, she gifted me for my birthday. She made me a special card with a special image on it that she claims that she still has to finish one of these days, but it's like I hung it up on my wall just so I could look at it every day.
Nice.
So,
yeah,
she is a great.
Oh yeah, she's a phenomenal artist. Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
in fact, I see a lot of her artwork that she's working on. She'll say, "Hey, take a look at this." I'm like, "Oh, that's so sweet." So
yeah, no, like it's
a lot
awesome.
of her production.
Like, in case you guys don't know, like the images and whatnot that I have like on my Twitter, that you're probably seeing right now, the goofy looking portrait or whatnot. I'm a huge fan of supporting artists that I like, and like definitely Vanessa's one of them. She's fucking phenomenal at what she does.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm trying. I'm working towards it.
And as far as shilling goes for me, I might do a video on Friday since I didn't do one last Friday, but that might be it. And I'll most likely be back next week. Because I got a lot of work to do. I've got my major project, which I'm hoping actually makes me money so I can solve my financial problem now of like being able to take care of myself since no one donates to Patreon.
Yeah.
But, you know.
By the way, Ken Berhenke was saying, do you have a way to see your art? I think that's
yeah. Go to Vanessa's Custom Art on Facebook. It has all of my art on there. The link is in the description of every one of my videos. So yeah. And yeah, there's that, and then the Rage On store, which has stuff on it, and then I'm probably going to subscribers special next week because this week I have to I really need to like make some money, so I'm gonna try really hard to Uber a lot and draw and shit. So sometime next week, maybe Sunday or Wednesday or something like that. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Vanessa with Cheese. I don't know why you aren't already.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that, and then Modern Medusa on Facebook. Nobody likes that page for some reason. There's only like 77 likes, and then my meme page, which is called All Your Memes Will Be Dreams, that has like over 200 likes now. I don't know why. Never share it anywhere. People just started liking it out of nowhere, and I was like, okay. But yeah, and I'm also an admin of I Don't Need Feminism on Facebook, so there's that. But yeah, all that stuff, and then you can donate to my Patreon. If you donate $5 to my Patreon or my PayPal, I will post a sexy GIF on Twitter. So yeah,
you know what?
That's
I will post a sexy GIF right now.
Oh
nice. Nice.
All the titties.
Completely hairless.
All the titties.
Oh my.
But hey, before I decide to hop out of this and everything, I want to extend a strong, heartfelt appreciation towards the both of you. Thank you for having me on. I really do appreciate it. Haven't done a live event in a while. Oh yeah, I love it. I hope that I get invited back. Hopefully I wasn't too much of a dick. Is it okay if I shill myself real fast? Can I shill? Shill?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sweet. All right. So you can follow me at Twitter at Cthulhu's BFF, and you can look me up as Cthulhu's BFF on YouTube. So hey, I just talk whatever the fuck I want to talk about. Yeah. But yeah, hopefully just let you guys know if you decide to turn around and tweet me on Twitter, I will reply back, and I will probably argue with you because that's exactly what I use Twitter for. It's an outlet for me. It's therapy. But again, I got to get going, guys. But hey, thank you so much for having me on. I had a lot of fun, and I hope to do this again.
Oh, I still gotta get you that article. So,
Yeah,
find
I'm
me
not
on
to. Yeah, I'm gonna follow you on Twitter. Trust me. Yeah, me and you are friends now, 100%. Like we are buds.
At my Twitter.
I know I have you linked in a tweet that I retweeted. Yeah.
Okay. And I'll send you that through there and my book as well.
Yep. Sounds good. Like you just got followed. Look at that.
Oh shit.
Oh shit, homie. You got followed.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming on, and thank you, everybody in the chat, watching and
thanks,
commentating.
People who watch. Because without you, this would be pointless.
We'd just be talking to ourselves.
Which, I mean, we could do regardless.
We'll be doing this next week, probably at the same time on Tuesday, and then another one on Thursday on Madcast's channel. Subscribe to him if you aren't, because he, I do streams on his channel every fucking week. So obviously you want to see. Oh my god. Okay. I look so beautiful right now. Can I just say that? But
I don't
you
know.
can say whatever you want as long as you keep doing that.
Yeah. You're a woman on YouTube. You will never get banned.
True. Very true. I'm about to do a PewDiePie Nazi video, so let's see how that goes.
Good luck. I mean,
all right. Thank you, everyone.
He is Nazi-ish.
And we will see you later. Say bye.
Bye.